can't take it anymore. My mind's about to go to war. I need someone to save me from myself, to hear me cry when I call out for help. I blame it on the voices that are in my head, wondering if they'll ever be put to bed. Feels like I am close to reaching my wit's end, holding out but I'm about to blow it up like a volcano. Another day to lose control. There's a fire in my bones. My sight gets blurry, pushing back the tears. Should take a leap of faith and face my fear. I blame it on the voices that are in my head, wondering if they'll ever be put to bed. Feels like I am close to reaching my wit's end, holding out but I'm about to blow it up like a volcano.
It's kinda like, I just want it to be over. You can't take back what you said. I hope it's stuck in your head. I hope it hurts that I left. You know you can't replace me. I keep your text left on read. Tell me who's really obsessed. I'd say I wish you the best, but I hope it drives you crazy. No shawty and she calling up a best friend, going crazy at a party in the West End. You see the pics, you like, damn it, should I text him? But D&D, shawty, sorry, that's a dead end. You know you really had a chance, say you messed up. Down bad, cause you seeing that I'm next up. More clear for the body, I'ma flex up. Move through it, little baby, I don't stress ya. Now, say I'm back on road. Big checks on deck, got you mad, I know. Said you find somebody better, yeah, yeah, I hope. And I would say I miss you, but I know I don't. Yeah, way too over you, baby. No, I won't let you play me. I ignore what you're saying. Heart is full of regret. You can't take back what you said. I hope it's stuck in your head. I hope it hurts that I left. You know you can't replace me. I keep your text left on read. Tell me who's really obsessed. I'd say I wish you the best, but I hope it drives you crazy. 15 missed calls on my phone again. So much I could say, but I hold it in. I hope it hurts, no I won't pretend, but in the end I'll be okay. Either way I'll be straight cause it's over. Ice cold every time I try to hold her, telling me I'm crazy and never giving closure. Blowing on my phone, I can tell you ain't sober. Thought I had a queen, but I really had a joker. I didn't wanna go, but my heart getting colder. And every now and then I think about when I would hold her. Now it's all over, I wish I didn't know her. But you can't take back what you said. I hope it's stuck in your head. I hope it hurts that I left. You know you can't replace me. I keep your text left on read. Tell me who's really obsessed. I'd say I wish you the best, but I hope it drives you crazy. murder me, atom bomb. You're on the run, baby, but you cannot hide. You daydream, I'm a homicide. You cut my heart, baby, like a samurai. I have sex to block the rage. You have sex to feel the pain. We're not the same, we're opposites. The pit inside your soul is fucking bottomless. And kill me slow, I wanna feel it. Blade so sharp, can cut steel with it. Blood runs red, it's romantic. Left a scar, no one wrong dead. You murder me, atom bomb. You're on the run, baby, but you cannot hide. You daydream, I'm a homicide. You cut my heart, baby, like a samurai. You murder me, atom bomb. You're on the run, baby, but you cannot hide. You daydream, I'm a homicide. You cut my heart, baby, like a samurai. You want it, you got it. You hurt me, you dying. Look what you started. You love to be violent. Heart on the table, it's turning black. Left me for dead, no one turning back. Kill me slow, I wanna feel it. Blade so sharp, can cut steel with it. Blood runs red, it's romantic. Left a scar, no one.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Brian Mansell Show. As always, I'm your host, Brian Mansell. I'm a sports media professional who's been in the industry now for a couple years, and I've got a podcast. You call it a podcast, whatever you like, but I've got a show. And we talk about sports all over the spectrum, all over the world. That's really what we focus on here. But, you know, the trend lately has been the most important sports that have been taken over because we still have all four major American League sports playing at the moment, which is MLB, NBA, NHL, NFL. Once MLB ends and we start getting toward the later end of the football year, we're going to be going more into world sports. So that means I'll go back into soccer again, as long as you don't, ban me. And as well as cricket, we could even touch into, some great controversy with a shocking win by Pakistan. There was a lot that's gone on. And again, you'd be surprised. Once you explore those sports, you really appreciate everything about it. But today, we have 5 different topics we're going to talk about. The show could take a bit, so don't buckle up. This could probably be a 2-hour show. So today, World Series Game 1 predictions. We're going to go through Game 1, ins and outs, what's going to work, what could not work. We'll go through a whole preview and give our take on specifically what will win the thing. What will win the series for the Diamondbacks? What will win it for the Texas? I mean, we did that yesterday, but just for this game specifically, what will it take to win Game 1? Because Game 1 is one of the most important games. You have to establish yourself as a force. It's one of the most decisive games you can win is Game 1. Then we're going to go into college football and talk about the games that are really to watch. This way, you know what to bet, what has the biggest sway into the polls and the rankings for the following week, the most important influential games there. We'll do that. Thursday Night Football was last night. I didn't stream it. I made a brief appearance on Boys in the Big Apple stream, Big Blue in the Bronx. Again, go follow them on YouTube. They brought me on at the end after a tragic loss by Tampa Bay in embarrassing fashion, which, don't worry, we'll go into. And I'll give my full takes on, what are the big takeaways from the Buffalo and Tampa Bay game. Staying on the football topic, we'll also go into Derrick Henry's trade rumors. They've now heated up again, thanks to one of my good guys out there in the Twitter world, ML Football, talking about some breaking news where it seems that the front runner right now to land Derrick Henry is an AFC North team, where if they were to acquire him, they would become probably the most difficult team to face in the AFC, the toughest team. I'll go into detail why on that, and some other teams that could be in on Derrick Henry. And finally, we'll close it out with our Week 8 predictions. I did make them already in advance here on this post-it. You only got a flash of it because I might end up changing some things. I made these predictions back on Tuesday. I'm going to have to maybe switch up a few for Sunday. We'll talk about it here as we go in the adjustments. And as always, if you're curious about what games are on tonight that you want to watch or explore, everything is linked down below. I don't know what just happened with the ticker. That was not supposed to happen. I apologize, everybody. Let me just make sure that's taken care of. I believe there was an issue there that the words are overlapping. But I'll make sure that we get that corrected for the next stream. I apologize for that. Now this is the final stream of the week. We'll be back on Monday for the next stream, 11 a.m. Eastern here on Twitch and YouTube. Now, in terms of play-by-play stream, we may do one on Monday. I'm unsure yet. I think we may be doing it, though. And on top of that, we'll be going into detail on a few other things. But today, it is all baseball to start, and we're closing out the entire rest of the show with football. Hockey, we did our review yesterday. There was a little bit of basketball action. I'll make it real quick. Milwaukee, Damian Lillard's debut, 39 points, phenomenal performance. NBA went crazy yesterday. Great game for him. Then you had Phoenix and LA. That was another really good contested game. But if I'm correct, Phoenix came out victorious in that one. I'll confirm that now. No, Lakers won 195. 39 points from Kevin Durant and 30 points from Anthony Davis, who I already made my prediction yesterday would likely be the defensive player of the year. But he's already leading the scorer, so that's a good thing. But once again, that is the intro that we have for some things. So hockey, again, we did a review yesterday, the most important things. And today, and a little brief now just on basketball. But let's get into the most important topic now. So if you guys are excited for the show and you're excited for the big content, say what's up in the chat. Let's get the conversation going as we enter the first topic, the World Series. Once again, I have to stress, making it between Arizona and Texas this year is unbelievable. I can't believe both teams played this well. Nobody could have predicted this. This is just like one of those picks you pick out of a hat, or you do on MLB The Show where you're trying to rebuild a franchise and you get this kind of matchup. This is the kind of thing that you get. This isn't something you actually see happen in reality, and it happened, which is pretty cool. Again, two teams that are they didn't play their best baseball this year. Rangers only 90 wins, and Dbacks at 84. 2 years ago, both teams had 100 or more losses on the season. So, a lot of progress and time has passed since then. But it shows proof that, even if you're a losing team, it doesn't take much. As long as you draft well and you make the right moves, you could easily be right back in the title conversation. It's really impressive. But today's matchup is Zach Gallen versus Nathan Eovaldi. Now, I will say one thing. With Zach Gallen, he's got a lot to straighten out. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, in the recent games that you have seen with Zach Gallen, this postseason he hasn't looked great. Zach Gallen in the postseason. Let me get some pictures for you, some videos, so you guys can see exactly what I'm talking about, because I feel like you guys need to see this. So let me go hunt it down. If you guys haven't already, please consider subscribing on YouTube to the channel. It goes a long way in getting helping the channel grow. We're already at 10 subscribers, hoping to grow that. So again, anything helps. Thank you guys so much. I'm going to get you guys a little taste of Zach Gallen this postseason. Some postseason pitching highlights. If I could get some decent amounts here of what you can see, you'll understand. So we do have a page of somebody showing off exactly his pitching arsenal, which you're going to see firsthand. So I'm going to pull up that video specifically. So you guys can see exactly what's going on. Now, let me get the clip fully here. Got it. All right. So this is what we're at. Just so you understand the kind of guy that he is. As we enter the highlight screen for the first time in a couple of shows. I think the second time this week, actually. Well, for the second show this week, we're going to be going back to the YouTube window because YouTube is our hero today. Here we are. YouTube window. As we pull this up, here are some of the pitching things to look at here. His fastball is considered his best pitch in his one of his best in the arsenal. This is what he features the most. Right here, you got a slow down of it. It looks like it only moves so much, and it really doesn't. It's really good I have to say, it's one of his best. It's very deceptive. I'll slow this down to a 0.25 so that you guys can kind of see it in slow-mo and get a good feel for it. So after he throws it away, watch it here. Marte walks off the mound. Off the batter's box. You see it right here. As it comes out, it flies and it sinks. It's got a little bit of a dropping motion into the zone, slight. And with that dropping motion, it can be so deceptive and really just amazing in how strong it can be for Gallen. Now, he hits the corner of the box here. As you see here, 2021, he used it 53% of the time, 48% in 2022. This year, I believe he used it a little bit more. And here's another view of it, him facing Connor Joe. And Joe swings and misses on this one. It bites him on the outside. He expected it to break in. It doesn't break in. Let's get another view with what looks to be Wilson Contreras taking this one low. His placement on it is beautiful, and with the already dropping motion, you could think it's coming in the middle of the zone, and it just dips just ever so slightly to kind of make you debate if it's going to become a ball. That's how deceptive his fastball can be. Like right there, he's expecting the dip, but he released it a little bit higher, and he was able to restrict the dip on that release. And it's not really a top speed pitch. It's like a 94 to 96 mile an hour pitch, so like really his velocity range is around where most major league starters would be. Not in terms of like incredible blazing speed, but it is good in its own right. Here he's up against Lamont Wade Jr. from the Giants right here. This pitch rolling. Did you see the movement there? Releases here, cuts over across slightly. That's his four seam. Slight drift to it. It's actually beautiful how he's able to manipulate the movement. It's why he's one of the most underappreciated pitchers in baseball. That pitch is something special. Now we're going to talk about his curveball. The break on that ball is one of the nastiest breaks you'll ever see. Now, obviously, slow mo may not do it justice. So let's go to full speed so you guys can understand how insane this pitch is. Yeah, that's the full speed. One more time, shall we? Right there. One of the most difficult pitches to hit in the league right there. His curveball. He finally fine-tuned it perfectly. He's got it up. 8% usage has increased in 2022. I think he went back to it more this year, and it has worked out for him. But in this postseason, I believe that has been his downfall. He's had a hard time controlling that pitch a bit, as you're seeing here. And it's also a fairly quick curveball. 80 to 83 is pretty quick. But he gets them every time because depending on where he releases it, determines if that pitch is going to be down, out of the zone, and try to get a guy to bite at something they think is going to be a strike, or he releases it higher to keep it floating into the zone, but make people think it's going to sit out high. It depends. It's a predictive thing. And that's really the thing with pitchers. It's a mental thing. You have to figure out what's the batter thinking and how are you going to approach it. You have to keep the batter on his toes and make it hard for him that by the time he reads the seams, it's too late. It's already breaking down, and he's not going to be able to catch up. He's going to be behind on the swing. He's going to strike and miss. You need to keep that mentality as a pitcher, and Gallen does a really good job of that. But this postseason, it's been a little different. But that's his curveball. His changeup's another one. This one's been one of his more consistent pitches he's used. You're going to view it here against Schwindel, right there. The movement on that changeup is something special right here. Look at that. Comes out looking like a slower fastball release, right? But what ends up happening is this ball, as it comes out as a changeup, it actually cuts back in right here, low inside, and they don't even see it. The movement on the pitch is one of the nastiest you'll see. You want to talk about a perfect changeup, that may be the perfect changeup right there. That one hugs the zone. And this one topped out at 90, which means it could still be a very fast pitch and still get an effective spot. He also throws a cutter, which not many pitchers can throw an efficient cutter. His is pretty good. It's not his best pitch, clearly, but the cutter is something nice to have in the arsenal. I mean, you're thinking it's like a blend for him. The movement is similar to like his curveball, but with less break. That's how I treat it. It's like 88 to 91. It moves like his breaking ball does, but it doesn't have the same sinking motion. It comes out like his changeup should and looks like his changeup. Here's him striking out Schwarber. And here against Adames, gets a decent hit off that. And finally, I think that's it for his pitches here. Oh, his slider. That's the last one. The slider. Here's another one that's got freaky movement right here. About to watch it. Right down low there. Beautifully done. He's got an arsenal of breaking balls. Thank you, Baseball Arsenal, for the amazing video on that one. But like I'm saying, there's things that he nails really well in his pitching. And for some reason, this postseason hasn't been the same. So let's look at some of the games where he pitched and take a look at some of the highlights, right? So let's go to Gallen's stats in this postseason, go through the game logs, and see what went wrong, right? So his worst game he pitched was against Philly on October 16th, which is Game 1. He pitched Game 1 against Philly, and he did not look good. And then he also pitched against Philly in Game 5, and he also did not look good. He struggled in both games. He was slightly better in Game 5, but Game 1 is really where he was the worst. So we'll take a look at Game 1, and see where it all went wrong. So I'll take a look. Zach Gallen, Game 1 NLCS. We'll take a look at this and see exactly what it looks like in the videos. So as we go back and look over the MLB's highlights of when they took the mound, you're going to see some of the pitches up front here and center. You guys will see some of them. Let's get past the Corbin Carroll play. Let's get past here, and you guys can see some of the pitches. So Schwarber was facing him first. As we go back to the highlights screen, we'll go to this one first. This is the first one. First pitch of the game, by the way. First pitch. Host only. Right here. Now, on this screen you're about to see is the pitch. All right? Now, here comes the approach. I'm going to slow this down so we can figure out what went wrong here and why there's a struggle. Right? That's my intention. Let's get through MLB's little post here with the sponsor, Evan Williams Bourbon, and take a look at what went wrong here. So here comes the first pitch to Schwarber. And he bites. The placement on that pitch wasn't great. And I'm not going to lie to you, that looked to be his fastball. And what's the difference with starting out with the fastball? What happened here that could have went wrong? Why did Schwarber know he was going fastball here? How was he able to read that? That's the first question we have to ask ourselves. How did he know he was going fastball? Well, it's simple. The release point, it makes sense that a pitcher starts out by throwing a fastball. But the question is his placement. Why was his placement in the dead middle? So here, Gallen, when he releases, right? He's coming through. You see, why does he keep doing that? All right. It stops right here. He sees this. He knows for a fact it's a fastball. And his fastball has movement we talked about. It's not supposed to have too much movement, but it's supposed to have a little bit. This one comes out on the slower end of his fastballs at 92. Schwarber sees this, sees a dip, takes it. And he bites. So the dipping on his fastball got him there. He tipped it a little bit, and that can't happen. So Schwarber goes yard, right? Let's go to Harper here. Harper gets this one. And this one looks to be his fastball again. Let's take a look at this fastball one more time. Right here. Coming out. 100% a fastball. Not even, actually. Yeah, it is. I had a feeling. Because the way it was, because of how fast the Reds are, I thought it might have been a changeup. I'm wrong. See how it has a slight movement? That's exactly what you want. The problem is you put it in a bad spot. That's Bryce Harper's sweet spot. He likes that. You have to know the locations of the batters you're going up against. Where do they like to hit? Do they like to hit it high? Do they like to hit it low? And you have to adjust accordingly to that. But that's 2 homers already given up. It's the placement of his fastballs that did it. And here's another one. This one is a pop-up. And this one comes out with the changeup here. So you guys are going to see this one come out. This one, he also lets a little bit get away from him. And it didn't come out looking great, but gets it. So as we continue through, let me go look for another big play here. Now here's where Gallen's at his best. He's up against Real Muto on a 3-2 count. And he comes out here with the breaking ball. This breaking ball is a very hard pitch to hit. That's his changeup with the wicked movement you just saw there. His changeup, some of the nastiest stuff you'll see right here once again. It releases right here. Right around here. Right where my cursor is. That should come out to about here on the plate, right? Well, the ball ends up breaking and dipping while curling out. While curling inside to the pitcher. To the batter. And when that happens, he's not prepared for it. He's thinking it's going to stay in the zone here a little bit and hug. It doesn't, and it gets the movement and down. He knows it. He knew he bit at the wrong pitch, and that's your one out. When you're dealing with that breaking ball is some of the hardest stuff to hit. His fastball has been the issue up to this point, but now he's got Castellanos. And Castellanos is famous for making big moments happen. Now here comes a 1-1 to Castellanos. Let's see what he does with this pitch. On the way, he got that one. Fastball again. And this one goes yard. So another solo homer, but it's the pitching and the placement. He knows that he's got this. Castellanos see where he wants to put it. He knows exactly where it's going. He's like, oh yeah, this is my pitch. He's loading up, knowing a fastball is coming to the outside, right where the barrel of its bat's going to hit. So he pairs, he goes for it, it engages. It's also like dipping into the spot that he shouldn't have pitched to. So Gallen's pitches, his weakest point right now is his fastball isn't working. That's the simple summary of everything. His fastball isn't working. And if he wants to get back on track, he's got to get that fine-tuned and up to speed again. Because that's one of his most used pitches. And to use that pitch and not get the result you're looking for and have too many homers given up, that's not good. You can't have that. So he's got to be more selective with the pitching, where he's placing it, his usage. I would be more heavy on the breaking ball right now than I would with the strikes. Than with the fastballs. Because right now your fastball isn't what it is. So you have two options. You can either fight through it and try to get it right to get back to form, or you can rely on your breaking balls to get you through, which you guys already saw what his changeup can do. You've seen what his curveball can do. You've seen what his slider can do. You've seen what his cutter can do. It's very possible he could pitch with all four of those pitches and not have to use his fastball. Maybe once in a blue moon per at bat he could use it. But he cannot use it consistently like he wanted to, which is, the majority of the time. He can't do that, especially with the struggles he's been having with that specific pitch. So the best thing to do is to lay off this one. Now he's going up against Eovaldi, and Eovaldi's been very good. And before we get into Eovaldi, Zach Gallen, Texas Rangers career against them. Garcia's never gotten a hit off him. Neither has Jonah Heim in 8 at-bats. Struck out 6 times, actually. Josh Young has never gotten a hit off him. Tavares has 1. The only guys who have hit really well against Gallen in their career, Simeon with 5 hits and 8 at-bats. Seager with 7 and 21 at-bats. Let's see, not Nathaniel Lowe. Jankowski has 3 and 9 at-bats. And we'll add in Robbie Grossman with 2 and 5 at-bats. And Garver with 2 and 5 at-bats. 6 at-bats. Now, only 2 of these guys ever homered off him, which is Garver and Grossman. But still, it points favorably towards Gallen, but there's a few guys who could really get on him if he struggles again. And he's got to be smarter with his pitching. It's that fastball that's holding him back more than anything else. Now let's look at Eovaldi. Eovaldi, again, was in the Cy Young conversation before his injury. You could still argue maybe he's in that conversation, but let's look at his bat versus pitch real quick against the Diamondbacks. He has really not faced the Diamondbacks his career. He's faced 3 of these guys. Gurriel, who hits very well off him, 7 hits and 18 at-bats in his career. Longoria's faced him 12 at-bats, so 12 times, 3 hits in those at-bats. Pham, 6 at-bats, registered 2 hits. That's what we're talking about right now with Eovaldi. So, yeah. Those 3 guys have hit pretty well off him in their careers, but that's it. Nobody else has really faced him or registered a hit. So, that's it. And let's look at what Eovaldi brings. Now, the last couple of games, he only pitched 2 games this postseason, really. Well, no, he's pitched 4 games this postseason. He pitched against Tampa, he pitched against Baltimore, he pitched 2 against Houston. He's won all 4 of those games. Now, his worst, we're going to take a look at his best, and let's take a look at his best pitcher before we go into his worst outing. His worst outing this postseason was against Houston in what looks to be Game 2. So we'll go into Game 2 with this information, but first let's take a look at Eovaldi's best pitches. So let's look at Nathan Eovaldi pitching highlights. Or pitching mechanics. We'll do that. So we'll go into that a little bit and see how things changed. I mean, let me kind of find a better way to do it. Pitching highlights is probably the way I'm going to put it. I'll show you guys the mid-season highlights. That's how we'll do it for Evaldi. So I got his highlights now. Let's pull it up in the host-only section once again right here. And as we go full, we're going to take a look right here. So here's his first one, right? First at bat. He's up against Turner. This is the midseason highlights this year. Release point, coming across, great motion, swinging across, beautifully done. Getting him with this blazer at the top of the zone one more time, coming out. The beauty with him is his release. The way his motion comes around in fluid, it's like he motions around and he launches it like it's a you guys ever played lacrosse? With lacrosse, how the stick is almost like an extension of your arm. You have to treat it the same way when you swing it around. You come with a wide angle release here and still make it center spot or to the left wherever you want it. You can still place it wherever you wanted it. That's how he's treating his arm. So when he releases it, he's right here and he's swinging around kind of like that and like this almost. It's kind of like that. The way it comes around, it's like his whole arm comes around back. And as he's coming out here and throwing rather than coming around like I do where I was pitching. I used to just throw like that. So I'll explain it better to you guys. So I'll go with a two-seam grip, right? Two-seam was my pitch. I was never really a four-seam guy. Now, when I pitched, this is how it would be. Two-seam right here on the grip, no problems. Come in, you come up, right? Come back. And I would be out here looking to do this, coming across my body slightly with my arm. Now, obviously, that wasn't the right way to pitch, but that's how I always went. I never went fully across. He comes out with a wider angle. So when he comes through, let's show you guys a better shot. His windup, watch, comes right up. As he drives himself forward, you see the swing out of the arm. So let me see. Do I got my mitt here? Yes, I do. I have a mitt. I have a mitt, people. I have a mitt. So, in the mitt. Come through. Hold in here, right? Now with him, let's watch one more time. His windup, when he's here, right? He's got it here, he's looking. He sinks it down a little bit, comes back straight. And as he comes back straight, he's propelling himself forward a little bit at a time. So he's back here, coming out, while he's still out here. Well, I don't have much room. I'm in socks right now, so I'm trying my best not to fall and bust myself, which would be really funny, but again. So right back here. And as he's coming around, like I'm having a hard time with my balance because I have to launch everything at once. And I don't want to have to do that with my arm. So since you come back, and as he's launching himself forward, I mean, I come across more like this. That's me. I come across like that, and I release like this. Now, of course, that's probably not the right way to throw it. It's technically for me like this. So I'll come around like this, and I'll throw straight down because it helps me out more. I get more action in my flick. Everything for better motion. So I keep it straight. I don't like to come across my body, which, sometimes it happens, and that's how you get bad pitches. But here, he comes out wider. So as he rotates, look where that release is. See where that release is? So as he's coming forward, he's right here. He's out here, guys. Yeah, I don't know if you guys can see it, but he's out here. So he's like right here releasing as he's coming forward. And his hand is like right here cocked. And boom. So essentially, you're talking about this and that. As you launch your whole body forward. Just like that. He's coming wide. So his release point is out more. And typically, I've always worked in more. So I like coming back more and just forcing myself this way with tension in my shoulder to kind of come forward and have to flick. He likes to come back and swing it out like you're throwing a lacrosse stick, which I've experimented with and I get good motion, but it's not as consistent as what I use and what I do. That's what I will say. But his release point is something special. A lot of major leaguers can throw like this, and if you throw like this, you're expected to be a dominant guy. That's something I can say, for sure. Here comes another pitch right here to Schwarber. This one down and low. That one is actually one of my favorites he does. The movement on that one, it's very slight, but he gets good movement here. Another one. Blaze it in there. Another burning fastball. That fastball is one of the difference between him and Gallen. Did you notice that Gallen's moves? Gallen's pitch moves. So when Gallen's pitch moves, it makes it hard to really know, is it a strike or not? So with the slight movement, some batters can anticipate it and get on it. If you're watching the way he was doing it in the NLCS, it wasn't that same way. The way it was coming out was he would release it and he'd put it in bad spots, and because of the break, it put it in a sweeter spot than it needed to be. So sometimes it come out and hook and it break a little bit to the left, and as it does that, they know it's coming into their spot right for the barrel in the middle of the plate. So they just took a swing at it right in the middle of the box. Boom. Gone. Another one comes in a little bit lower, but it breaks a little bit lower, but over a little more to the right, so a little more outside of the lefty. Lefty takes it off the barrel. It's drifting towards the barrel of the bat, which can't have happened. You just can't. For Eovaldi's, his doesn't drift. His swings. So because of his launch angle out here, where he's releasing back out here, like that, or whatever it is, like over here, because of that, he's got more control of the flick. So it'll start out here, but it'll just go be a straight laser across the plate. And by doing a straight laser across the plate, you can't really gauge the spot it's going to end up. So it makes it harder for a batter to anticipate that. It's why you see a lot more pitchers going with that kind of launch angle a bit. They come outside more almost like a sidearm pitcher, but not fully. I mean, you see guys that come out and they're just like right back here, and they're just like that. And they come underneath, which I'll never understand a submariner pitcher. I'll never understand a submariner. But coming outside, I see it all the time like this. If somebody comes like this, how I throw a football sometimes. But not a baseball. I would never throw a baseball sidearm. I've done this launch angle. I like it. It's just, it's so rough on the elbow. It's not even funny. It's really rough on the elbow and shoulder. So I'm not big on it. But it is definitely an efficient pitch. And it works for Eovaldi, clearly. Now, let's take a look at how this affected him in the ALCS. Nathan Eovaldi, ALCS Game 2. We'll take a look at his pitching, and I'll tell you guys exactly what happened. So they went through a whole breakdown of him escaping a jam in Game 2, but I'm going to show you guys the actual pitching and the spots where things went wrong for him and where you can find a liability in his pitching. So I will show you guys shortly once I get a good clip. We got to get actually out of the first inning first because Framber Valdez was doing terrible in this game. And I'll show you guys exactly what I mean with Eovaldi. Okay, Alvarez. We finally got one. Alvarez comes in and starts hitting. All right, so I'm sure you guys are still listening. So we will go in here and I will show you guys one of the pitches here. So Eovaldi here loading up against Yordan Alvarez. Alvarez was sick this game with fighting an illness. This is like Jordan's flu game. He was sick. And so Eovaldi feels like he can take advantage of this. Remember, see what I meant by the angle? Releases out wide, tries to come across the plate. The release point was a little bit more in this time, and it started breaking a little faster. I mean, look, the release point was on point. I'll say that. Like, it's the normal spot. And it's drifting, and it's going towards the middle of the zone. And he clearly takes it. Like, look, I don't care how fast your pitch is. You leave one right here, Alvarez knows it's going middle, and he's committing. And he takes it. 95. That was a 95-mile-an-hour fastball, and he took that, and it's gone. Your placement and timing of your fastballs is what is going to be dependent in this game. Because you got two squads that can capitalize on it. Arizona can capitalize on it, and Texas can capitalize on it. So Gallen needs to be smart with Texas because they're obviously the better hitting team, the better offensive unit compared to them. They've been more consistent this postseason than anybody else. So that's the team to watch. You cannot have the same thing happen. It's like playing the Phillies again. They have good pitching, and their bats are even better. You just cannot have bad pitching against their bats. Plain and simple. But for Eovaldi, it can be said the same thing. So here he sets a record with the most home runs in the postseason. Let's see what he does against Chas McCormick. Here comes release point here. This one he swings on and he gets a tip off of. This one being his curveball. His curveball obviously gets down. They're able to make the play in time. Josh Young bailing him out. But let's go back here and take one more look at this release. Right out here's his curveball. So we didn't really get to see a curveball when I was doing the preview for him. But out it comes. And it breaks down. So his actually starts out like high. And you just see like it almost like an arc. It's like an arc down. It's like it comes up a little bit high. Look like it's going to, if it's a fastball, it's at the top of the zone. But then it breaks a little bit just to go down about half the zone. And it did just that. It came down half the zone. If you're throwing that towards the middle of the zone, that can drop to the bottom towards the ball territory. And it can be very lethal. But I think he left this one a little bit high. McCormick knew that. Took a swing at it. Again, they get the out, but it's just the fact it's in play. Now, placement and pitch selection is key in everything. So they got to do better with that. Let me just make sure I'm not missing anything. Jonah Heim, okay. I'm trying to get to a better part here. Okay, Bregman at the plate. Eovaldi on the mound, right? You got Eovaldi on the mound. Here's the pitch from Eovaldi. Again, this one, he's looking like he's going to go right here. And it ends up dipping a little bit and goes low inside. But he saw the break on it, knew it was coming, and he went for it. 91. A 91 splitter. He knew it was coming. He saw the drift. If you guys don't know the splitter, it's like it freezes, but it breaks because of the motion. So his motion actually brings it outwards. So because of the motion and the way it came off the fingertips, he forced it out more, inside more, and Bregman saw it breaking in, and he was far enough off the plate that he could compensate and make the play. So he swings and cuts inside a bit on his swing. Because of being so far back in the box, he has an ability to do that. He has good coverage of this side of the plate. You go outside, he doesn't have that. He has to reach in more, and that's tough. You don't even want to reach for a pitch. But in this case, he knew Eovaldi likes to throw inside, so he adjusted his stance, and he threw it inside, and he took it. And, if Bregman was closer to the plate, that's not a home run swing. But Bregman knows how Eovaldi pitches to him. Batters know how a pitcher is going to pitch to them if they faced him before. They know what they like. And they take advantage of that, as you see with Bregman here. Now to the plate comes Pena. Eovaldi's still in. It's a bottom 5, 2 on, nobody out here. 61 pitches. This one swung on and grounded down. Now this one is a cutter. So both him and Gallen throw cutters here. Here's the pitch on the way. This is just a very readable pitch. A very readable pitch. Comes out here. You're probably thinking it's coming here. You're probably thinking that. But knowing that Eovaldi's breaking ball was doing a little bit better in the game than his fastball was because they were going yard on it, he decided to switch it up and go with another pitch that maybe they haven't really experienced him with, which is the cutter. So it's coming out this way, but it breaks a little bit down like again, cutters break like curveballs but have less break in it. So they come out looking like they're going to sink harder than they will, and they won't. So it looks like it's coming here. It's going to finish around here. So it only goes about a third, maybe a quarter of the way down. And so it dips down right here into the spot, into the corner, and he puts it right in the dirt. Now again, that's not a home run pitch, but the contact is made. Now that's a good place to put it. If he makes this play, this doesn't happen, and they end up with runners on third, bases loaded. And now that brings up Altuve. Wait, no, Diaz. My fault. This brings up Yainer Diaz. And here's a good pitch on the way here from Diaz. Look at this motion. Throw it outside, make him chase. Beautifully done. Curveball. That's exactly what you want. You had to know that was the curveball coming out. Not by the scenes, but look at the beauty of it coming down. Wow. Sinking down into the plate with motion, but kept it off the plate the whole time and kept it straight. That was the first out. Diaz chased that one hard. Now comes Altuve, who's known for stepping up in crucial moments. Here's a pitch from Eovaldi here. This one, he swings and misses on and strikes out. This one, clearly his splitter. His splitter has a good movement, as you see. He likes to put pressure on that, what looks to be the way that comes off. So like when you're doing a splitter, it's like between the fingers here. When you're coming down, if you put a little bit of pressure on this one, and you do it a little, and you do it right, where like this is the driving force right here off your middle finger. Again, if you're righty, driving force, that ball's gonna have an inside rotation. So by the rotation like this, it'll go out, it'll go in more to the right. If you put a little more pressure on this end, you launch it this way. Well, no, I think I might be wrong. I think the way it works is, I might have it flipped. So pressure here on your index will send the ball breaking in a little bit more in. If you break it off the middle finger, it'll break out. Again, this is if you're dealing with a righty batter. Dealing with a righty batter, if the pressure's on your left on the splitter, it's going to go inside. If you do it off the right, it'll go out more. Now, Eovaldi with his splitter, he likes to throw in on righty batters. So to throw in on him, he sticks with his splitter style, which is, again, the pressure is here. So when it comes out, he puts a little bit more extra pressure here. It flicks out. It does one of these rotations as it comes out. So it's got like a little bit of an angle on it, and it ends up, because of that rotation, breaking in. So it comes out looking like this, comes back in of that rotation. And as you see here, that's exactly what happens. It sinks and it drops in. So when it looked like it was going to be outside the plate, he tried to predict it. As you see it here, the way it was released, that ball, hard to read that seam, man. And they go for it, and he went and he missed it. He thought it was going to dip harder like a curveball. It had a slightly different movement. He missed it. If Eovaldi brings that kind of stuff today, they can win this game. If they bring that kind of work, that kind of motion, everything, that breaking ball is one of my favorites I've seen in baseball. That splitter is incredible. It can do incredible things if it's used right and placed right. That's the only way I could put it. And that's really with every pitcher. Every pitcher is the same story. Your location matters. What you do matters. Consistency matters. So where you put it, what you use, the timing, and just the location. That's how it is. And the execution also, because you can have all that perfect, but if you execute it and it doesn't go exactly how you want it to and it ends up missing the spot, they're taking the yard. Boom. Now you're down 1-0, 2-0, 3-0, 4-0. It's just about, that's what it is. It's just pitch selection, timing, location, execution. It's all through 4 of those things. You get all 4 of those, you win the game and have a solid start. But that's how it's going to go for both these guys. Now, I already told you about the batters. I think if we're being honest today, I don't think Gallen's able to get it straight. I think he's still going to go back to that fastball. And knowing Texas as a unit, being in Texas, it's going to be tough. So I'm taking Texas today. Eovaldi gets the win. This is his 5th game now he would have won in the postseason. So give me Arizona. This game tonight, Arizona versus Texas in Texas. Game 1, 8:03 p.m. Eastern on Fox. Now let's keep it moving. As we go to the next topic, we're going to go into the college football games. As we go into the college football games, let's take a look. College football. Now again, there is some controversy going on with college football. Let me put it up to you in the most normal way I can. Let's go to the complete ranking. So I'm going to share my screen with you guys so this way you guys get a full view of what I'm seeing. I'm going to try to also crop the window a bit so that this way it doesn't look bad. So I'm just holding the function. That's not it. Not function key. Let's hold the control key. So let's take a look. No, that's not it. So what was the key then? Was it the Alt? It was Alt key. Okay, so Alt, we're going to cut it in like this. I'll give it to you guys like this, really. And then, yeah, we'll do this. So we're going to put up like this and set up like this. So here's the AP Top 25. All right, so this is the full screen version of what I have right now. Let me put this back real quick. Right here. Okay, perfect. So this is where we're at. Okay, you guys see I have a lot of room here. I'm going to up my screen a bit just so you guys can see this better. So these are the games for tomorrow. I mean, these are what you're going to see. Now, clearly, one of the big games I'm going to mention, it's not because I'm a Georgia fan, as you can see right up top there. It's not because I'm a Georgia fan. I'm being very clear with all of you. That Georgia-Florida game has a lot of implications in it. Georgia is not a bad team. They are a good team. And I'm being honest as a Georgia fan, they scare the hell out of me. Every week, the offense gives me a lot of questions. The defense has been solid, but the offense has left me with too many questions. They get off to way too slow of starts. They end up having to play catch up and then blow them out in the second half. That's how they play. And I don't like that kind of football. It reminds me of Alabama football. They don't look great in the first half, but in the second half, they drop 50 on you. And you're like, oh, where was this the first half? But then they go on to win a natty. Now, I'm telling you now, I don't think Georgia goes back and goes 3 times in a row and wins all 3 times. No, I don't. If it happens, great. I'm happy. Georgia fan, super happy. Is it happening again? No. No. Now, let's bring up this part. This is an important thing for me. Georgia's got Florida. The Battle of the Swamp, the rivalry, is a big deal in Georgia. This one's going to be in Georgia at Sanford Stadium. So they're not going to be in the swamp. They're going to be in Georgia. They have one every year. Florida always plays their tail off to win this game. Georgia's going to have a hard time. This will not be an easy game for them. So this is a game to watch. I don't care if Florida's ranked or not. This will be a hard game. Keep an eye on this one. Georgia has a chance to be upset here. Don't sleep on it. Georgia, Florida, watch this one. So I'll write it down so you guys don't forget at the end. So let's write that down. On the millions of post-its I have. UGA, UF in Georgia. Michigan's off this week, probably for the better. Ohio State's got Wisconsin this week. I don't think Wisconsin's really going to do much damage, but again, they are getting votes for the top 25. Now, are they a squad that I fully, wholeheartedly believe in? No. I mean, I can't really change anything you see here. So, I'm just going to have to read to you guys what I see, if that's the way to put it. Here's what I'll do. You know what I'll do? I'll duplicate the tab, and I'll move it outside. So that this way, I can read it while you guys don't have to worry about it, right? Yeah. Okay, so I'll do the reading now so you guys understand while I'm working on this. So, Wisconsin, this year is 5-2. The teams they've lost to are Washington State and Iowa. Losing to those teams doesn't help you. But they've beaten Rutgers, they've beaten Purdue, they've beaten Georgia Southern, they've beaten Buffalo, and they've beaten Illinois. And most of these were fairly close, not really blowouts. So, Ohio State's a real challenge. I don't think they've played serious enough competition for me to really consider them a threat. But nevertheless, if you want to watch this one, go ahead and watch it. Ohio State at Wisconsin. Because obviously Ohio State's proving that they are not a pushover team. They are a good squad. Florida State, number 4 in the country, taking on Wake Forest at the Demon Deacons. Those Demon Deacons are 4-3, and let me tell you, losing to Georgia Tech, Clemson, and Virginia Tech doesn't help you at all. Losing to Virginia Tech is not a good thing. So I wouldn't worry about this one. I think Florida State's in control. Washington at Stanford. Stanford had some surprise wins against Colorado, but I wouldn't take much in that. I would leave that be for now. So don't worry about that game. Oklahoma at Kansas. This one I'd watch for sure. Now, granted, Kansas did just lose to Oklahoma State, so they can't qualify anymore for the playoff. However, how great would it be to play spoiler to Oklahoma? I mean, you're going to be home in your own stadium against the Sooners with the chance to take down the Sooners. Nothing better you'd want. So, I think this is a game to watch right here. OU versus Kansas. Texas, BYU's next. That's who they've got. BYU, not a bad year for them. They've lost to TCU and Kansas, but beaten Sam Houston, Southern Utah, Arkansas, Cincinnati, and Texas Tech. They've had a decent year. Kept it close for the most part in every game. This one will not be close. This one will be an absolute win for Texas. But who knows? Anything could happen. Oregon, Utah, 8 versus 13. This is definitely one to watch. Oregon and Utah. This is number 13 Utah versus number 8 Oregon. Number 6 Houston. Number 3 Ohio State. Number 1 UGA. I remember that. Okay. Now, the reason why it's a big game is because Utah just took down USC and pretty much squashed all hope of Caleb Williams going to a college football playoff this year. Ended it. Squashed it. It's over. So can Utah continue this trend with Oregon? Can they squash them too? Because if they beat Oregon, Oregon's dreams are done too. It'll be over. Now, interestingly enough, they will have Bryson Barnes likely again. You will not see the arrival of Cam Rising once again. And I still feel for him because I think he is a great, great quarterback. He's questionable for the game, but I don't know if he's going to play. Once again, he has not played in a game since this. If he plays, it'll be the first time he starts for the Utah this year. I don't think he's going to start this game. I'm unsure. We'll have to see tomorrow. But if he starts, I can't guarantee Utah wins this game regardless of who starts. But if Oregon's a strong team, they should be able to beat Utah with a backup quarterback. The fact they're even still involved in this race for the college football playoff is insane. And that's a game to watch. Number 8, Oregon. Number 13, Utah. Regardless of who starts. Alabama's off this week. They got lucky. Penn State, Indiana. Penn State coming off a rough loss last week against Rutgers. Wait, no, not them. Sorry. I clicked the wrong team. I clicked Indiana. Penn State coming off a rough loss to Ohio State last week, 20-12. Their offense got exposed everywhere. They're now number 9 in the country. Number 10 in the country. Indiana, 2-5 on the year. 2-5 on the year. This should be a blowout win. Don't even worry about it. Oregon's got Arizona. Usually I wouldn't say don't worry about the Wildcats, but Arizona just crushed number 19 Washington State last week, 44-6. If you think I'm not thinking about Washington State and the things they could do, you are sadly mistaken. Oh, sorry, 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago, they crushed Washington State. Now they got Oregon State. There's an opportunity here for Arizona to pull off a back-to-back upset. So this is definitely one to watch. Oregon State, great team with DJ Uiagalelei leading the way for them at quarterback. DJ Uiagalelei, the former starting quarterback for Clemson. So keep an eye on this one. Oregon State, number 11, up against a team who's already committed a big upset this year, Arizona. They're still unranked. Ole Miss, number 12, up against Vandy this week. Vandy, not a good team this year. I fully expect them to win this. No competition. I already talked about Utah. Notre Dame, number 14, up against Pittsburgh. The Pitt Panthers have not been a good team this year. They're 2-5. That should say enough. Although they did beat Louisville in an upset. But if they beat Louisville, who beat Notre Dame, Notre Dame might lose this one too. But nevertheless, I'm not worried about it. LSU off this week. Missouri off this week. Number 17, North Carolina, up against Georgia Tech at Georgia Tech. Tech has beaten Miami, Wake Forest, and South Carolina State this year. South Carolina State's an FCS team. But they've lost to Louisville, Ole Miss, Bowling Green, and Boston College. So I'm not really sold on them. I think this is a fine game. Nothing to worry about. Louisville, on the other hand, has a very tough game this week. They're going to have Duke. And Duke's season's over. They're 5-2 on the year. They're done. But Louisville still has a chance. They've lost one game. Number 18 in the country. They're not out of it yet from the college football playoff. They still have a small sliver of chance. But everybody else, of course, in front would have to lose. But they need to win this game to stay alive in this. They need to stay alive. And the only way you could do that is by beating Duke. And this will be a high-stake game. So Louisville will be home against Duke, who is number 20 in the country. So 18 versus 20. Air Force at Colorado State. Air Force still an undefeated team up to this point. They got Colorado State, who is 3-4 in the year, losing to Washington State, Colorado, Utah State, and UNLV, but beating Boise State, Utah Tech, and Middle Tennessee State. They should be perfectly fine in this one, but let's take a look at who Air Force has beaten to be at this point. RMU, Sam Houston, Utah State, San Jose State, San Diego State, Wyoming, Navy. They've beaten some decent teams, half-decent teams to be here. So I'm not I'm not complaining about it, but this is really like their first real challenge is Colorado State, who has faced some really tough teams. So I would watch this one. See really how legit Air Force is. So 19 Air Force versus Colorado State, CSU. Tennessee up against Kentucky in Kentucky, the Wildcats. Both teams are 5-2. Kentucky sitting just outside the rankings right now. Big win against Tennessee would put them right back up in here. So this will be an interesting game for ranking reasons. So number 21-10 versus not really number, but University of Kentucky. Tulane, number 22 in the nation at 6-1. They're up against Rice. They should beat Rice, but Rice has been a little bit of a tough out this year for teams. I mean, they've beaten Houston. They've beaten East Carolina. They've beaten Tulsa handily. Gotten crushed by Texas and losing to UConn and South Florida, sure, but I mean, they are still a competitive team nonetheless, led by JT Daniels, a former number 1 overall quarterback in high school recruiting classes. So I wouldn't sleep on that one, but you never know. UCLA's got Colorado this week. Of course, that's going to be a game to watch. It's Dion. So number 23 UCLA. This one will be in UCLA against Colorado, the Buffs. So far, if I'm correct, the Buffaloes are 4-3 on the year. Lost to Stanford a couple weeks back. That's really what stood out about them. Now they got another ranked match to deal with. USC at number 24, barely staying in the top 25. They got California this week, the Golden Bears. 3-4 on the year, beating North Texas, Idaho, and Arizona State, but losing to Oregon State, Utah, Washington, and Auburn. So this should be an easy win for them. I'm not worried about that. Number 25 is James Madison. They're up against Old Dominion. They're undefeated on the year, James Madison. Old Dominion, on the other hand, 4-3. Beat Louisiana, the Raging Cajuns, TA&M, Commonwealth, Southern Miss, and Appalachian State. So Dominion's beaten some tough teams. Historically tough teams. And Madison has been dominant through it all. Marshall, Georgia Southern, South Alabama, Utah State, Troy, Virginia, Bucknell, beating all of these teams. James Madison has been a legit contender. And to finish out, they're going to have some tougher games. They got to face Appalachian. They got to play Coastal. They got to play UConn. They got to play Georgia State. But first, get past Old Dominion, 1 week at a time. The Dukes, number 25, up against Dominion. And that's the games to watch. So in total, you're going to have 9 games to watch here in the college football window. There we go. It'll be So a quick recap. UGA and Florida, number 1 versus unranked Florida. Florida, although they aren't really bowl competitors, CFP competitors, they are a good team. They've beaten some tough teams. South Carolina, they've beaten. Vandy, they've crushed. Charlotte, they've crushed. Beaten Tennessee. Beaten McNeese. Losing to Utah and losing to Kentucky. Georgia could easily win this game, but they could also lose it if they play down to the Gators. So UGA and Florida is 1. Then you got Ohio State, Wisconsin. I usually wouldn't rank this, but I'm doing it just in case because Wisconsin, it's a Big Ten matchup. You never know what could happen. Keep an eye out. You never know. Oklahoma and Kansas. Number 6, Oklahoma, unranked Kansas. This is a tough game overall. I would go with Oklahoma here, obviously, but Kansas is always giving a fight. They were literally just in the rankings last couple weeks ago. So I would just watch out to see what Kansas can do if they want to take out vengeance in their own home stadium against the Sooners. Keep an eye out also for Oregon, Utah. That's the big number 1 game here. Oregon, number 8, Utah, number 13. One of these teams loses, their year's over immediately. Just like last week with with USC and Utah, it's the same situation once again. Utah needs to win to stay alive. Same goes for Oregon. They lose to Utah, done. Playoff hopes over. So they need to win this. So both teams got a lot riding on this game. That's the number 1 game to watch. Oregon State, Arizona. Oregon State being number 11. Arizona pulling off a couple upsets this year. Definitely a team to watch in case they want to go ahead and go on another upset with the Beavers. Louisville, number 18 versus number 20 Duke. This one will be in Louisville. Louisville still only has 1 loss on the year. It'll take Duke to have to stop that. If Duke puts another loss in Louisville's column, that'll be it. And their season will be over. So, a lot at stake in this game. Duke's season already over for the playoff, but Louisville's isn't over yet. So, Duke has the opportunity to play spoiler and crush that, so keep an eye on that. Number 19, Air Force, Colorado State. Air Force, can't tell really how good they are. They're undefeated. This is a really big test against Colorado State, who's faced some really tough opponents all year. If they can beat Colorado State, then they definitely deserve to go up a little higher in the rankings. I'd say even to like just outside the top 15, maybe to like a 17, 16 spot. Number 21, Tennessee and Kentucky. Tennessee losing to Kentucky would just be terrible. Kentucky and Tennessee are basically the same team in terms of record. But on paper, a little bit different. Kentucky is home here. Anything could happen in this game. You just don't want to come out of the top 25. You still want to look like you're a tough team. You got to win this. So Tennessee needs this. Kentucky needs this to get back in. Both a lot at stake for both these squads. And finally, UCLA, Colorado. Deion Sanders got a chip on his shoulder looking to torture whoever he's got next. He's got UCLA. He's unranked. He's got 3 losses on the year. He's pissed. They're taking on UCLA. I only pray for those Bruins and hope that they don't get absolutely slaughtered. But it's still a game to watch regardless. Trust me. Those are the 9 games to watch. If you guys want official times and stuff, UGA, Florida is Saturday, 3:30 Eastern on CBS. Oklahoma University versus Kansas will be 12 o'clock on Fox Eastern. Let's add in Oregon, Utah. That's 3:30 Eastern on Fox tomorrow. Louisville and Duke, ESPN, 3:30 Eastern. USC, no, not USC. Washington, Stanford, no. Air Force and Colorado State, 7 o'clock Eastern on CBS Sports Network. Tennessee and Kentucky will be 7 o'clock Eastern on ESPN tomorrow. Ohio State and Wisconsin, 7:30 Eastern tomorrow on NBC. And you could add to that Colorado, UCLA, 7:30 Eastern on ABC. James Madison, we're not going to worry about them too much. The Oregon State game, Saturday, 10:30 Eastern p.m. on ESPN. And I believe we're still missing a game here. I feel like we're missing one. Did we do Oregon, Utah? Yeah. Okay, we did all of these games. Yeah, they're all done. Oh, wait, did we talk about Ohio State, Wisconsin? Where are you? Oh, there they are. Ohio State, Wisconsin, 7:30 Eastern p.m. NBC. I think we did that, but I covered it again anyway. And that's it. That's your college football games to watch. So keep an eye on those games, especially if you're looking to bet a little bit. This is what's going to take. Watch these games specifically. Promise you. You won't regret it. And so that brings us back here. What's up, Armand? How we doing in the chat? How we doing today, man? But again, these are the college football games to watch. That's the intention. Those 9. If you're going to bet those games, good luck. I don't know how you're going to do, but I wish you the best of luck. It's not easy. These bets are not easy. Thursday Night Football recap. I've been dreading this. But we're going to do it. I'm going to try my best to do highlights. If I can't do highlights, I apologize. Again, I could get struck down on YouTube at any moment just because I use highlight clips. I mean, I'm using MLB stuff, and I could have easily been copyrighted. And apparently I've gotten lucky. So maybe I don't think I'll get as lucky with the Bucs Bills stuff. So I'm going to go Bucs Bills, and I'll try to do the highlights for this one. We'll do a... We'll see. Here we go. Let's go up to... Well, CBS Sports did a game recap. We won't do that. We'll do the actual highlights from the NFL. We'll do it. Let me actually adjust the speed, too, because I'm at 0.25 from the pitching analysis we all did. All right, so I got the clip. Happy to hear that, Armand. So we're just going to break down whatever happened with the Bucs game. I'll make it as quick as I can. I mean, the Bucs looked terrible yesterday. Offensively, they were a nightmare to deal with. Really couldn't get the ball going. Josh Allen benefited on a lot of situations where Tampa really could have gotten a hold on them, and they didn't do that. Oh, forgot to do this. Whoops. Give me 1 second, folks. I definitely forgot to change this up. So we're going to quickly adjust this. Yeah, I know. What highlights? I know, man. I know. Tampa looked absolutely terrible. You don't even have to tell me. I'm going to try my best to get this back to its normal size. My apologies, everybody. And come on. Let's get back to normal. Yeah, there were no highlights in this game for Tampa. I mean, there were some, but we'll talk about that a little bit more of why there's only some and not more. And it's going to be a pretty simple answer, honestly. Pretty simple answer. Oh, here we go. I know what I got to do. I'm going to cut this. I can't really cut this in a bit, so we're just going to, yeah, there we go. In and that. That's it. Okay, so this is the best we're going to be able to do for now. So, as you guys can see here, Tampa's offense not really doing too great. A couple good quick passes that they were doing. It was really a quick passing situation. Then they went for field goals. Not playing aggressive football. That one gets tipped by Shaq Lawson. Not a good kicking night for them. You keep going throughout all of this, and you got Josh Allen now here. Sorry, just checking to see I still got this here. Yep. All right, so Allen looking around, pressure on him. The pressures, they weren't able to get real pressure on him yesterday. Able to make some great plays at the line of scrimmage here. You see that. Defense was doing okay. They were bending, not breaking still. And here's what I was talking about without some bad plays. As you're getting hit as you're throwing, right? Let's take a look. I might do a breakdown on this game because I'm actually upset with how this went. So you got all this pressure coming your way. A good rush by Gregory Rousseau. And he's got to step up and come out this way. Does he do that? No. He tries to stand strong and deliver. Instead, it comes out wobbly. 43. Makes a play on the ball. Trey Palmer can't make the grab. He goes down a little early, falling backwards. Leads to a fourth down. He steps up in that pocket. He's got more time. And they weren't being smart about it. And this is a decent return for Buffalo. Yep. And Allen, trying to take it himself, gets tripped up. Just a lot of running for Allen, and this is the one I want to look at. Right here, you got no man in a spy situation here. He had an open field to run, and both of these men got fooled. And he pulls a fake out on Anthony Nelson here and is able to turn right back around and get in between the guys for a touchdown. And he made it look so easy. And now here's another one, Baker, standing strong in the pocket again. Got Godwin, who was wide open for absolutely no reason whatsoever. And gets Godwin again. 3rd and 9 one more time. I'll just get you guys a good feel for this. Bad plays. See what I mean? Bad passes for this game, for Tampa. Bad decisions, bad play calling. It just wasn't going their way. But here's one. Great batted up play by Winfield. Good heads up play. You're going to see it right here. Tipped it right up in the air with the safety blitz. And good awareness by Golson to come down with it. And Tampa had to try to benefit off this. And they did. The action play. Dump off to Rashad White, who makes a good carry here. Again, great pass catching back. He's not meant to be a real ground and pound running back. They need to get somebody in free agency to fix that. Maybe this offseason. We'll see. But a great catch here by Godwin for the touchdown. As again, you see they're going to bring in. They bring in a safety here. They're bringing in a couple more guys. And he's able to do a little pump fake to the right. And just throw it right back over across. Godwin in a good position to make a play. Tie game. Now you got James Cook here coming across, making some good plays. Devin White unable to stop the run that time, which is a rarity. And I think I'll just skip to the end here. 18-24 at one point. Tampa failed to do some things. I mean, there were definitely some other things I could bring up. I'm not going to bring them up, personally, because I don't think they're necessary, because we already know how bad of a job Todd Bowles does in game management situations. But Baker Mayfield airs this one out right at the end, right? Look where that ball ended up. I want you to see how close this was to caught. Look where Godwin is, right? As he's getting held in the back. I want you to watch this. Tries to spin around to see it. Right there. Right there. He's not getting held and he turns around sooner. I mean, that's a catch. That's a touchdown. And they would be winning this game in a walk-off fashion. Unfortunately, you can't always get what you want. Tampa Bay ends up losing this one. Once again, here's a replay of it. Look how close this was. Right there. Right there. And that's how you lose a football game, people. That's how you lose a game. Right in the dirt. One more time. Turns back around, sees it. It's right there. Unable to make the play. And that's where we're at. Give me 1 second, everybody. I am going to have to pick up a phone call. So... Sorry about that, everybody. I am back. Let me pull up the solo shot. Thank you. Sorry, I currently am home. I'm currently home right now, and I'm taking care of my house at the moment because of a family situation. So I'm staying home, taking care of the house, and I'm getting calls to make sure I'm doing things. So, usual. But here, again, this is what the situation is. Tampa Bay didn't play good football yesterday. Now, was Baker bad? Bad passes, yes. Statistically, no. But there were really bad decisions made. Sometimes you got to move up in your pocket. You're brought in to be a mobile quarterback, something that Brady wasn't. And you're not using the mobility in the pocket. You're using it to run out of the pocket and go get first downs, which, again, I respect it. But Jameis Winston did the same thing. And how far did we go? I think that's my point. That's really all I got to say to that. Defensively, Tampa's defense did a decent job yesterday. I mean, holding down the Buffalo offense only 24 points. I mean, that's very lucky. Generous. Thank goodness. Thank goodness it wasn't 30 or 40. It could have easily been that case in Buffalo. And it wasn't. They played a good game. Nothing to complain about there. Tampa was just not playing well offensively, and it showed. They had a moment to win it. They didn't win it. It backfired. And, you reap what you sow. I did pick Buffalo to win this game. What I'm more mad about is the parlay we gave out yesterday. We missed on one specific thing. And it was the one thing that I debated and I went against it. Remember how we were talking about going with Godwin passing yards? And then we switched it to Evans passing yards? Remember we were talking about Godwin receiving yards? We switched it to Evans receiving yards? Yeah. We definitely paid the price for that. We 100% paid the price for that because I'm going to log in and tell you guys exactly the bet we did yesterday. We did it looks to be a 5-leg bet yesterday, same game parlay, and it 100% backfired on us. And it was only because of one. One bet kept us from making big money. With the 50% parlay boost of 3,900, plus 3,900, under 43.5, which was exactly what happened. 250 plus passing yards for Josh Allen, who had 300 plus actually. Gabe Davis, anytime touchdown score. Buffalo Bills -4 alternate spread. Where did we miss out? Mike Evans alternate receiving yards. He had 60 plus. We said 60 plus. He had 25 plus. Yeah. That's what happened. That is what happened. If we would have got that one pick right, we would have probably had $80 off a $2 bet. So, you can't win them all. You really can't. But you know what? That's why I tell you guys, bet responsibly. 21 and over. Make sure you're 21 and over and that it's legal in your state. We are not responsible for any bets you win or lose. It's all purely for fun and there is risk involved. So always be smart. If you don't want to bet, you don't want to bet. Be smart, please. For the love of God, be smart. Now, this was a good example of that. But again, like I said about Tampa, Tampa's defense was great. But it's Buffalo. And with Buffalo, it's never easy. They're never easy games. And Tampa saw that. Again, great that they got an interception. They got a turnover. That's great. But remember what I said about time possession, turnovers, completing drives? Tampa didn't do that. Buffalo did. Buffalo completed more drives. Had one extra turnover, though. One extra turnover. Tampa didn't turn over the ball once, which is kind of impressive. But Buffalo had the time possession domination. That's just simply it. You can't expect to go back and forth, and expect to win when, again, your team is just not. You had a punt, you had a missed field goal, a punt, a field goal, a touchdown, a punt. That was your first half. And the touchdown came from an interception that your defense forced. Then in the second quarter, touchdown for Buffalo. Punt, 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 punt. And then a touchdown finally happens on the long drive with God knows how many more minutes left. I'm probably sure about just under 3 minutes left in the game. Then Buffalo has to punt again. Then Tampa has with 20 seconds left. Can't get the score because, Godwin didn't turn around soon enough and other issues. But again, you can't blame one play for a game that had entire issues throughout. So, Look, Buffalo, the leading receiver yesterday for Tampa Bay was Rachaad White with 79 yards. Your running back was the leading receiver with 79 yards. 100 plus from scrimmage for him. Happy for him. Happy. But you got Chris Godwin. And you got Mike Evans. And you got Trey Palmer. How in the world does your running back have more receiving yards than all three of those receivers? How? I mean, you could ask the same thing for Buffalo. The top receiver yesterday was Khalil Shakir, which nobody thought was coming. 92 yards from him, but it wasn't by much. Just 5 yards over Gabe Davis. Rachaad White, 70 yards receiving. Godwin, 54 yards. Evans with 39. Otton with 27. Palmer with 22. The Buffalo side, Davis with 87. Shakir with 92. Diggs with 70. Kincaid with 65. I mean, what else am I supposed to say? This was legitimately the team. That was them yesterday. That was them. You know it's bad when your check down back is getting all the passes and he's getting all the yardage. It's unfortunate, but it does happen. And that just speaks to the Tampa offense. They want to get crafty. They want to get creative. They're reaping what they wanted. Now they're on a 3-game losing streak ever since I went on my rant that I tried to double down and say, oh, well, you know, Tampa Bay is going to win the NFC South, and Baker Mayfield by the end of the season will finish the top 10 quarterback. I am going to regret that take for the longest time of my life. For the rest of my life. I'm going to regret it. I doubled down on Baker Mayfield, and I'm paying the price for it. So, whatever. Things happen. Buffalo moves on. They're doing really well. Tampa loses. Now they're falling back 3 games. They have an easier slate ahead, but they really need to win these games if they want to stay alive in this race. There's 4 games upcoming. 3 of them are winnable. 1 of them is not. That is the Niners game. That's not a winnable game. But you could beat the Texans. You could beat the Titans. And I'm sure you could beat the Panthers. I think we play the Panthers also as well. Sorry, I think they play the Panthers soon as well. Nope. Texans, Titans, 49ers, Colts. That's the next 4. They also got the Panthers, again, which makes, for the first time, which is 5. Then they got to go back against Falcons. Then they got the Packers. And they got the Jags. And they got the Saints. And they got the Panthers again. So realistically, they have 3 tough games remaining. 49ers, Falcons, and Jaguars. They got through the tough parts of their schedule. They can still finish 10-7. But everything has to go right for them if they want that. Right now, I still see a 7-10 season. They're still going to lose easy games they shouldn't win. They shouldn't lose. And that's just the case. That's how it is. You can't fix what's broken in this case. You know, I mean, I think I got the saying wrong, but you can't fix what's pretty much broken now. That's kind of where we're at. Again, just like the ticker. The ticker's broken. There's supposed to be more games listed, and it's not listing the games. But staying on the NFL topic, let's go over to Derrick Henry. And the news I got from one of my buddies on Twitter, who I'm going to try to see if I can get him on the show soon. I'm working right now to see if I can get him on the show, which is ML Football. If you guys follow Twitter, you know who ML Football is. One of the independent insiders. He's been featured all over sports television. He is going to be... I'm going to try to work to get him on the show. We've been talking for a bit now. We're hoping to see if we can get something going. If all goes well, I could possibly have him on next week. If not, possibly the week after. But you're going to have an NFL insider on the show here on Twitch and YouTube. I'll have that available soon. Again, possibly, we'll see when. If worse comes to worse, I'll just do an interview. And I'll throw him on here. I'll throw it as a clip, and then we'll just go on with our day, you know, and go on with our typical episode. You know, that's what I'm thinking. He's an independent reporter, got over 100,000 followers on Twitter with the amount of news he is able to uncover. He's actually very good at what he's actually very good. One of the more driven people I've seen when it comes to this kind of stuff. He really is that good. But let me look at what he said fully about Derrick Henry. So I'm trying to get the quote he has here of all the information. Here we go. So, just officially, right? I'm going to pull it up on screen so you guys have it. The Baltimore Ravens officially inquired regarding Titans All-Pro running back Derrick Henry. If Tennessee is going to move the 2020 Offensive Player of the Year, multiple executives expect him to land with the Ravens. Now, that's the expectation, but now they've actually inquired about it, which means now there's serious interest. If they do this, it will make them the most difficult team to face in the AFC. They will be the most overpowered I'm saying Lamar's Super Bowl. I'm all in on the Ravens at that point. They need a running back. Ever since Dobbins went down, he is the answer. He's got 1 year left on his deal. It's this season. After the season, he's a free agent. You eat the money now. You get it done. You get it over with. And you enjoy a Super Bowl run. That's it. That's all you need. And for Tennessee, this would help them get a little bit of capital. And they're pretty much done for the year anyway. I think they've kind of given up knowing the state of the division. But here's another one that came from ML as well. There's another team who's been a sleeper to also consider Henry. The Dallas Cowboys. The Cowboys are a sleeper team to trade for him, according to Tony Pauline from Pro Football Network 365. The belief for many is that Henry could end up in the NFC East with the Cowboys if Tennessee's willing to eat some of the money remaining on Henry's contract. So think about that a sec. You could have Derrick Henry in the Dallas backfield with Tony Pollard if Tennessee eats the money. Some of the money. Like, they go 50-50 on it. If they eat some of the money, you could have possibly Tony Pollard and Derrick Henry in the backfield with Dak Prescott. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? I mean, with the way the Eagles are spending and trading right now, it makes total sense they want to get involved. But you know what? I think it would help Baltimore more to have Henry than it would to help Dallas. Because I think they have a good running back as it is with Pollard. I don't think there's a necessary need for Henry. But knowing Jerry Jones, he'll want to spend money on the wrong things and, never take accountability for it going wrong. That's Jerry Jones. Jerry World for you. Jerry World football. Now, there's other teams who could consider him, right? I'm sure if I had ML on, he'd probably agree with this. Some teams who could definitely pay an interest into him. I've heard Buffalo. Buffalo's run game has definitely been a question because James Cook is the lead back and he hasn't been stellar this year. So maybe a running back like him would put them over the top. Derrick Henry going to Buffalo would help them complete their offense and really take some pressure off of Allen through the air. So he doesn't have to worry about, if he's going to get attacked or sacked. He doesn't have to worry about having to carry the offense on his back as the passer. He knows he's got a ground and he knows he's got a running back that can easily get him the yardage he needs. So Buffalo is definitely one team. I told you guys about Baltimore. I told you guys about Dallas being the sleeper. Another team I would definitely keep an eye on. I wouldn't rule the Bengals out of it because they're on a really good hot streak. And losing Joe Mixon hasn't been great this year like I had expected. His regression started, and it's looking like they're going to need a running back. And if they really want to stay alive here, they got to coax Tennessee. So, once again, let's write it all down, shall we? Because, again, I've got Post-its for days. Post-its for days. Another one now. So, we've got the Bills, right? So, Bills, Ravens, Cowboys. Those are the three we've heard. I'm giving you a few other teams who I wouldn't be surprised get involved. Bengals are one. I think the Bengals do need a run game going. They're having issues with Mixon. It would make sense to get a guy like Henry in there to fix things up. Mixon isn't the same guy he was 2 years ago. Now let's continue off that note. They're not going to trade within division AFC South. No chance. AFC West. The Chiefs I've heard maybe, but I mean they're fine with Pacheco. They're happy with him. The Raiders obviously would trade for him, but I don't think that would work because Henry wants the chance to compete, obviously. He wants to try to win. That's the biggest thing in all this. And listen, this report can be disputed or not, but I'm telling you from how I think of when it comes to players. If a team wants to move a player, it's because they want to give him the best opportunity to win or they're not happy with him. They're 100% happy with Henry. So my guess is they feel bad because the title window is closing, they're approaching a rebuild, and it's not fair to keep Henry around for a rebuild when he's slowly going to come out of his prime over the next year or two. So use his next couple years of his prime years to become that special back for somebody else to help them win a Super Bowl. That's the mentality, and I like the knowledge on that. So I think that's what Tennessee's approach is. Put him in a contending situation where he can win a Super Bowl with a team that needs a running back and some running help. So it makes sense that the Bills, Ravens, and Cowboys are there, and it makes sense that the Bengals are there. Because the Ravens have a great run game as it is, but they want to take some pressure off Lamar so Lamar doesn't have to run all the time. Lamar shouldn't have to run so much and have so many design plays. That's really how it is. So it has to be a contending team. Could the Chargers count in this? No. They're good with Austin Eckler. You can't include the Broncos because LOL, Sean Payton, LOL, Russell Wilson. Go to NFC East again. Giants are fine with Saquon. Commanders are fine where they are. Eagles are fine where they are. Cowboys, we already mentioned. Go over to the NFC North. Lions, they're cool with what they have. The Vikings, I wouldn't rule out of the realm possibility if they keep getting hot and keep winning games. I mean, anything could happen, but I'm not 100% sold. Packers, nope. Not Packers. They're not going to be competing, so you can take them out. Same thing go for the Vikings. They're really not competing. Bears, LOL. Go to the NFC South. Atlanta's got their running back. New Orleans has their running back. The Panthers are still looking for their first win. And the Buccaneers are in a free-fall mode, 0-3. Do I think they should trade for them? Absolutely. Can they afford it? I have no idea. So I'll put Tampa Bay here as a very long shot. But I think it's a team that could trade. And this is completely unbiased. I mean this, unbiased. Tampa could trade for him. You never know. I've seen them do crazier things in my lifetime as a fan. Again, Brady being one of the crazier things I've seen. Didn't see it coming. So the Bucs, keep an eye on that. They could make a trade for Henry. It's been reported that they have done their due diligence looking for a running back and have contacted about Henry. That has been known. But I don't know how much it's gone forward. Because if I'm hearing nothing but Ravens, Cowboys, and Bills, that tells me that the Bucs have fallen out of interest. But still, noting the Bucs here regardless. Have to be noted. Another team, we'll go into the NFC West and see if we can find anybody else. Arizona, they're not really doing anything this year. Now you can write them off. Seattle, they're cool with what they got with Kenny Walker. Let's look at the Rams. The Rams could always use running back. Yep. But the Rams, are they really in a place to compete? I mean, with the coach they have, they usually are. As a long shot, I'll put the Rams here. And the Niners don't need a running back. So, that's 3 teams. So here it is. The 3 reported teams are the Bills, Ravens, and Cowboys that have taken interest in Derrick Henry. But the 3 teams I'm telling you to watch, who could easily sneak in the conversation and take them out of nowhere among the media scramble, is the Bengals, Bucs, and Rams. The Rams, falling back in the division, need something going in the run game to really pick up for everything. Look, Kyron Williams has been great, but Kyron Williams is injured and the backups are not doing well. So, Rams, if they really want to compete and not lose to teams like the Steelers, you win this. Which, that actually brings up another good point. How about this, Steelers? 3 teams in the AFC North could totally use him. Bengals, Steelers, Ravens. I'll add the Steelers too, because Najee Harris, a lot of doubts about him, a lot of questions about him. Send them a young running back. In return, you get a veteran running back to help push you forward for this season. Because Pittsburgh started out really slow, but now they've only had 2 losses at this point. They're like 4-2. They're playing in a good pace. I would watch Pittsburgh very carefully. They go after him, it's a done deal. And they would be in a really good spot to compete in the AFC North. So Steelers is another team. I forgot about them. So yeah, Bills, Ravens, and Cowboys are a sure thing. They make total sense. That's what I've heard. That's what's been reported by ML Football, who has recycled the news from other insiders he knows and has made contacts with. That's what he's heard. I would still watch the Bengals. I'd still watch the Steelers. I'd still watch the Rams. I'd still watch the Bucs. Those 4 could easily sneak in among those 3, inside of those 3, cut them off, and take Henry in a good deal. They're going to take whatever's the best deal possible for a good contender. That's what the Titans are going to do. They need a good deal and needs to go to a contender. That's it. They're not going to do him dirty. They want him to go to a place where he feels he has the best chance to win a Super Bowl, and they still get a decent return out of it. Which, to me, is a fair trade. Trade deadline is coming up this week, so be prepared for that. I believe it's on Halloween, so big deal. That would be the Tuesday. Tuesday, the 31st, is the trade deadline. Keep an eye out for that. I can't do a trade deadline show. I'm working that day. I'll be doing a morning show, but I'll give you guys whatever trade deadline info you need to know about the day and players to watch. Big things going on. As in, like, we'll go over a couple of deals that go on from this weekend or on Monday, between Monday and Tuesday, and names to watch that could be dealt at the deadline on Tuesday, on Halloween. We'll make sure to do all of that. I promise you. We will not miss out on that. And that brings us to our final segment of the afternoon, which is NFL Week 8 predictions. Now, I did make these predictions already. I made them on Tuesday, or really Monday. I made them on Monday. But I'm not sure about them. That's how I'm going to word it. I'm not sure. I'm not confident in them 100%. We're going to go over them and make changes as needed for our specific picks. Because I did it for their show at the time. That can change easily now for us, now that we have the updated injury information and news. So I'll give you guys in order, starting with the first game. Starting in the 1 o'clock window, Rams-Cowboys. Cowboys are home in this one. It'll be 1 o'clock on Fox Eastern. Cowboys are favored by 6. Over-under's 45.5. Let's check the injury report real quick. In the injury report, Trevon Diggs is still on IR. Tyron Smith is questionable for this game. For the Rams, it is Ben Skoranek, Ernest Jones, and Rob Havenstein who are questionable to play and start. So that's definitely something to watch. If I'm being honest with you, the Dallas defense hasn't been great since Trayvon went down, but they've held strong offensively for the most part. So with all of that information, I'm going to take the Rams in a shocker. You know what? I'm unsure. My original pick was Dallas. Now, Dallas hasn't lost at home yet this year. The Rams are 2-1. You know what? Yeah. We'll stick with Dallas. I take it back. We'll stick with Dallas. So the Dallas one is where we're going to stick with. Armand says he has the Jets and Giants injuries. When we get to Jets and Giants, we'll go over it. I'm going to go one game at a time here in order for times. And then when we get to Jets and Giants, feel free to give me the injury reports, everything we need to know. Because that one's probably the big game that everybody in the New York, New Jersey region wants to know about. So we will definitely do that for sure. Next game up we have is Minnesota. It is the Minnesota Vikings and the Packers in Green Bay, Lambeau Field, 1 o'clock Eastern on Fox. 3-4 versus 2-4. Who would have thought, right? Minnesota favored by 1.5 in this one. Cousins actually having a decent year despite some really impactful shortcomings. Injury report for this one, Ezra Cleveland is questionable, Asamoah is questionable, linebacker, and TJ Hawkinson is questionable. For the Packers, Devondre Campbell, questionable. Luke Musgrave, questionable. Aaron Jones, questionable. Jaire Alexander, questionable. Preston Smith, questionable. 5 starters for the Packers are questionable, which means even if they play, they're going to be banged up. So I'll tell you this. Give me the Vikings in Green Bay. Give me the Vikings. I'll stick with my Vikings pick. Only because I think Minnesota has been proving themselves a lot lately. You guys saw what happened against the Niners on Monday night. They really played their tail off, and they deserved that win. They got their win. They're easily coming back right into this race. I'm happy to see them finally get their footing back. 3-4, a win here would put them at 500 again, and right back in the race chasing Detroit. They'll be 2 games back. Barring a Detroit loss. If Detroit loses, they'll be a game back, which would be very, very impressive. Very impressive. But I do think Minnesota wins this. I'm not a believer in Jordan Love. I think what's going on is you're seeing exactly what we thought. Jordan Love had a couple good weeks of football. Now he's coming back down to earth, and people are seeing how bad that Packers offense is. You might see LaFleur fired. at the end of the year. Falcons and Titans in Tennessee, Nissan Stadium, Nashville. Will Levis getting the start for the Tennessee Titans because of Tannehill's injury. Willis will not start. They're giving the ball to the rookie, Will Levis, who will make his debut. Now in this one specifically, the Falcons only have one guy who's questionable. That's Tay Davis. And for Tennessee, you have Tannehill's listed as questionable. He's probably not going to play. Levis is making the start. Josh Wiley's questionable. Chris Moore's questionable. Roger McCreary's questionable. Taylor Stallworth's still on IR for the Titans. I'm happy that he's getting his start. No chance I think they beat the Falcons. I'm sticking with Atlanta. Indiana as an Indianapolis Colts, taking on the Saints in Indianapolis, Indiana. Lucas Oil Stadium, 1 o'clock Eastern on Fox. The Falcons game, by the way, on CBS, 1 o'clock Eastern. Saints, Colts, 1 o'clock, Fox, Eastern. New Orleans favored by 1 in this game, over under 43.5. Injury reports on this. Saints offense looks abysmal right now. They look bad. Juwan Johnson, Taysom Hill, Max Garcia, Alante Taylor, and Jimmy Graham all questionable to play for the Saints. For the Colts, Richardson done for the year. Jelani Woods still on IR. Juju Brents is doubtful to play, but Moss and Granson are questionable. So Minshew, the starter for the rest of the year, there's a chance they win this game. There's a chance. In Indy, there's a chance. But again, the Saints got embarrassed the last time they played last week, and the Colts are coming off a very upsetting loss that they shouldn't have lost. A game to the Browns. So two teams very upset with their losses, coming back trying to rebound and say, hey, you know what? We're not out of this yet. A win for New Orleans would mean that they would be right behind Atlanta, especially if Atlanta were to lose this week. They'd be tied with them for first place in the division. For Indianapolis, a win here keeps them in pace with Houston and with Jacksonville. They would only be 2 games back from Jacksonville, barring a Jacksonville loss, which would then mean 1 game. In this one, I initially picked Indianapolis. I'm going to stick with Indianapolis. I do believe in Gardner Minshew. I think there has to be some kind of upset here. That would be the upset pick. So I'm sticking with Indianapolis here. I'm not happy with it, but I'm sticking with it. It's like a 50-50 pick for me. Patriots, Dolphins, 1 o'clock Eastern on CBS. Miami Dolphins are home here at Hard Rock Stadium, Miami Gardens, Florida. They're favored by 9.5. Over-under is 47. This one I'm dreading. The Patriots are a hard team to always predict. They make it so hard to predict when they're good or bad. This game, this is what the situation is injury-wise. Patriots, Ty Montgomery, Hunter Henry, Keon White, and Cole Strange are all questionable to play. For the Dolphins, Javon Holland, Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, and Raheem Mostert all questionable. Hill is expected to play, though. Jalen Ramsey already starting to do some action on the field, practice field. He hasn't back yet, but he's working his way back. Javon Holland, unknown to play. Waddle, unknown to play. Mostert, unknown to play. But Hill is expected to play for the Dolphins. Honestly, Miami shouldn't lose this. They should win this game. They really should. It's the battle of 2 ex-Alabama quarterbacks, Mac Jones and Tua. I'm going with Miami. I'm sticking with Miami. I don't see the Patriots winning. I know they just beat Buffalo, but no. Respectfully speaking, no. I don't think the Patriots have what it takes to beat an offense like Miami. The defense can't handle what Miami brings. I don't know if you guys believe that or not, but that's how I feel about it. I think if you're going to come up against a team like Miami, you need to come in full cylinder, firing off all cylinders. So you got to be heavy in your coverage. You got to have fully healthy defense, everything. They are not fully healthy. They're not in a state of being where they can really pull these things off. So I take Miami. Sorry, Bill. I hope you enjoy retirement after this season. Jacksonville. They got the next... Well, no, we don't go to Jacksonville. This is actually the segment you've been waiting for, Armand. We're going to do it. Jets and Giants at MetLife. Technically a home game for both teams. This is a very, very difficult pick. Last time I did this, I made a grave mistake. And here's what I'm going to do for you guys, all right? I'm going to make my pick a special way because you guys really do enjoy when we do these things. So before we get into my pick for this game, let's go over some details. Injuries. Armand, you've got the injuries, man. Anytime you want to bring them up, feel free to do so. Jets are favored in this one by 3. Over under 36.5 because nobody believes in either offense. But so far, the Jets are favored to win this 77%. Now, going through the number lines, for some reason, Zach Wilson is still looking tragic. The Jets injury report. Michael Carter is questionable to play, the corner. Michael Carter the second. Randall Cobb, the receiver, questionable. Irvin Charles, the backup receiver, doubtful to play. Joe Tippmann, the center, he is out. They do not have their starting center for the game. For the Giants, Daniel Jones is out again. He will not play. So it will be the Tyrod Taylor show once again. Wan'Dale Robinson, questionable to play. Darren Waller, questionable. Saquon, questionable. and Gary Brightwell questionable. Those are the most important ones to highlight for now. But let's take a look at the depth charts then. See what really steps in. Because this is a game I really have to take seriously because my credibility is on the line when it comes to Jets and Giants fans. Armand says that Sauce and Reed are out of concussion protocol and are expected to play. So Sauce Gardner and DJ Reed are going to play. They're out of concussion protocol as I expected. And they're going up against this Giants receiving corps. It's been lackluster this year. Hasn't been really anything stellar outside of maybe one or two guys. Waller been great at the tight end spot. Hyatt being the pleasant surprise, the rookie, which, if you saw his draft tape, he was phenomenal. Great pick for them. These guys are going to get smothered. I feel like they're going to get smothered tomorrow. And everybody's talking about the pass rush, the panic, everything. I'm going to tell you the truth. Tippmann being out means that Connor McGovern will get the start. The problem is there is no right guard at all to play tomorrow for the Jets. I don't know how you're going to configure this offensive line to open this up. I mean, we know Becton's 100% playing on the left side at tackle. We know Max Mitchell's going to play right tackle. We know McGovern's going to be the center. Left guard and right guard's the question. No Tippmann, no AVT's on IR. Schweitzer has to start. Is he going to be on the left side or the right side? I'm assuming Tomlinson stays on the left and Schweitzer goes to the right. If that's the case, it's going to be a rough day. Because that interior line is going to have a really, really rough time with the Giants' pass rush. And if that is the case, I mean, you're going to see Zach Wilson panicking, but him panicking is I mean, he's got to look like more poise. The last couple of weeks, he's played with a little bit more poise, more purpose. I like it. I like it from him. If he continues this against the Giants' pass rush, it's a progressing trend that's in the positive direction for the Jets. Maybe the season ain't over yet. For the Giants, though, let's look at what they're dealing with. Go into their depth chart now. And thank you, Armand, for all the information. I really appreciate it. He gave more information that we needed to make these predictions for this game. Let's review it real quick. Daniel Jones is out, as we've stated. Per Dable, he's uncertain if Daniel Jones even play the rest of the season. Dude, if he can't play the rest of the season, I mean, the Giants season's already over, but dude, not having Jones sucks. You just signed him a $40 million deal for 4 years, and he can't even play. That sucks, man. That's terrible. We're going to continue with this offensive line. Remember how I was talking about injuries to offensive line can really affect you? Well, we're in the same situation here. For the Giants, Andrew Thomas, questionable to play at the left tackle spot. Bredesen, playing left guard. JMS, the center, questionable to play. Mark Lewinsky will start at right guard. Evan Neal is questionable to play at the right tackle spot. If Thomas can't go, it's Justin Pugh on the way. If Evan Neal can't go, it's Tyree Phillips. And if JMS can't go, Bredesen has to shift to center, and McKethan has to take over at the left guard spot. Regardless, these guys are banged up. They're not 100%. There's really I'm debating the idea of really picking the Giants here, just because the offense has a chip on its shoulder, and you want to win a crosstown rivalry. You have to. So there's going to be this is going to be a very close game. I don't care what the spread says. This will be a very close game. Don't care who you talk to. This is a close game. And the line on this one's the Jets by 3. This will be one of the closest games you'll see all year. 2-5 Giants, 3-3 Jets. Jets need a win to go over 500. Giants need a win to just stay relevant and prove that they're still better than the Jets. That's really it. This is a pride win. They need a win for pride. So I'm going to shut down my camera for a sec, and I will come back with a hat decision because, again, I'm a hat guy. So whatever I wear will be the decision. So we're going to shut off the face cam. You guys can still hear me. And while the face cam is blocked here, I am picking up the hat right now that we are going with for this game. Again, you probably saw it on the screen, but there's a couple of them. So, I mean, look. I can't sit here and say that this is an easy game. Armand saying he expects Thomas and JMS to play. Thank you very much for that update. I appreciate that. If they're expected to play, it makes the pick much harder because both guys are good, but they're still not 100%. And that's really the question. If these guys are 100%, right, they'd win this game. But I don't think that's going to be the case. I mean, this is a huge debate I'm having. I'm bouncing back and forth on it. I'm not sold. I'm not out on it. It's definitely something that could happen. It could happen. But for the Giants, I mean, a lot has to go right. Right? Now remember, I said I'm sitting on this pick trying to figure it out. And everybody's talking about the QB matchup. Zach Wilson don't got it. He's going to get bull rushed by D-Law. They're talking about the Jets side. And with the Jets side, it's, Quentin Williams coming down that side. They got an incredible pass rush coming from the outside, the interior. You're going against the best defense in the league right here. This is not, you're going against one of the best defenses in the league. They're ranked in the top 5. And you've got a banged up offensive line and a backup quarterback who's got mobility, but his bones are made of pixie sticks. I mean, what else do you guys want me to say? So with that, I'm going to give you guys a prediction right now, and I'll give you my pick. As we turn on the camera in 3, 2, 1. I'm riding with the Giants. Riding with the Giants on this one. Is what I would say if I believed in them. It's the Jets. It's the Jets, guys. It's the Jets. No doubt, I'm taking the Jets. I'm sorry, guys. But this is the way it's got to go. The Giants are not winning this game. Look, I mean this very seriously, okay? You could tell any Jets fan you want. Armand, you know Luca, you know Angry John. You could tell them all you want. I love the Giants. I've never had a problem with their organization. They've been nice. They haven't been any kind of antagonizing. None of that BS. They've been a good fan base towards me. And I have all the respect and will to them. But the Jets they're just too banged up to handle the Jets. I think they're going to come in healthy. They're going to come in ready to prove a point. They know how important this game is. They got to win back their credibility. They got to win back their notoriety. And they have to prove that they are not some little brother to the Giants. And with that motivation, they're going to win this game. I'm sorry. I'm in on the Jets. I know, Armand. We know. Oh, God, we're losing now. Listen, did you want me to pick the Giants or what? Listen, last week was a really bad week for me for picks. Really bad. For record, everybody, my record last week was 7-6. But prior to that, we were 13-2. We were 12-3 the week before. Last week, we were 7-6. This week, we're trying to beat that. But, again, Jets, I think Zach Wilson has a decent day. Actually has a pretty good numbers-wise. They're going to get after Tyrod a lot, probably about 5 or 6 sacks. This is going to be a productive game for the Jets, but it'll still be close because the offense still struggles to finish out in the red zone. My guess, if I'm giving you guys a score, 17-13. I think 17-13 Jets is where I'm at. 17-13. It's going to be a low-scoring game. But the Jets will win. They will win the game. Armand, I know you're upset. I picked them. If I would have stuck with the Giants, it would have been, over. But, I had to do it. I'm not going to jinx. I promise you this won't be a jinx. The Jets are winning this game. I'm not going to jinx this. And again, I've been jinxing things like crazy people on the other show. So I'm hoping that this doesn't become one. Let's see if it sticks. But going with the Jets. And that was my pick from last night. So we're sticking with, from Monday. So we're sticking with that. Jacksonville is the next game here. I'm going to shut off the mic again, the face cam, so I can switch back. We're switching back to the Magic. The Magic are the pick. Going back to the Magic hat. Yes, love this hat. Next game, Jacksonville. Jacksonville has a game against, if I'm correct, where are you? Jacksonville's got the Steelers in Pittsburgh. This will be a way tougher game than people think. Acrisure Stadium in Pittsburgh, 1 o'clock Eastern, CBS. The Jets-Giants game is also on CBS, 1 o'clock Eastern. Now, the Jaguars and Steelers, reason why it's a tough game, I'll tell you guys why. Lines, Jacksonville, 2.5, over under 41. The Steelers are playing better football as the weeks go on. Is Kenny Pickett looking like the best quarterback in the NFL? Hell no. Hell no. He's not even in the top 20. But the defense is doing a great job. And the offense is doing enough to survive. Now, in terms of injuries, this is the important part. Tyson Campbell's questionable. Walker Little questionable. Scherf questionable. Lawrence questionable. Zay Jones questionable. For the Steelers, Levi Wallace is questionable. Ogunjobi, Porter Jr., and Deontay Johnson, all questionable. All these guys are banged up. You're going to have to play through it. Jacksonville, knowing that your quarterback is hurt, he's going to play through it, doesn't sit well with me. They have yet to lose a game on the road. It would make so much sense for them to lose to the Steelers on the road. It would make so much sense. But unfortunately, I got to go with the logic. I'm going with the Jaguars. I take the Jaguars to win this one. Cleveland is the next game. This one will be Cleveland and Seattle. The Cleveland-Seattle game is going to be 4:05 Eastern. Oh, wow. They definitely skipped some games here. Sorry about that, everybody. They definitely skipped some games. Philly and Washington. 1 o'clock Eastern on Fox. Commanders are the home team here at FedEx Field. Last time they faced off, they went to overtime in Philly and barely lost. The Eagles, again, are facing the Commanders in their home. This time, different story. Eagles are crushing them. Eagles win this. Not even going to read the injury report. Texans and Panthers. Houston and Carolina. 1 o'clock Eastern. 1 o'clock Eastern on Fox. I am taking the Texans on this one. It's in Bank of America Stadium in Charlotte. C.J. Stroud versus Bryce Young. C.J. Stroud's going to continue to show why he is the best quarterback in this draft class. He's going to show out. Texans are going to be above 500 at 4-3. Give me Houston. And now we go to the 4:05 games. Browns, Seahawks, 4:05 Eastern, Fox. Seattle's home, Lumen Field, Seattle, Washington. Seattle favored in this one, 3.5, over under 38. Geno Smith's offense has not been good this year. Let's call it what it is. Not a good year for this offense. But the Browns, with Deshaun Watson, not good. Not good. They have not been good. Not at all. Okay, Zay Jones not playing for the Jags this week. I'm still rolling with the Jags. Jerome Ford has been ruled questionable for this week. Okay. So with Jerome Ford listed questionable, let's also add in there Marquise Goodwin questionable this week. Same with Njoku and Kareem Hunt and Deshaun Watson. All of them questionable. I expect all of them to play, though. I expect all of them. For the Seahawks, Kenny Walker, Tyler Lockett, Damian Lewis, Bobby Wagner, all questionable to play. That's what the full injury report says. Let me go back and read down to, Cleveland first? Let's go to Cleveland first, and I'll give you guys the full answer on that. Cleveland, Jerome Ford was at practice on Friday. He was spotted there. Goodwin was back on the field, started Friday's practice. He may play. Njoku was a limited participant on Thursday, so he should be playing. Kareem Hunt was limited on Thursday. He should be playing then. Watson still isn't practicing. So I'm more concerned again that they may put P.J. Walker back out there. And if they put P.J. Walker back out there, for some reason they're winning with P.J. Walker. I don't get it. He's playing terrible, but they're winning the games. The defense is absolutely insane. I mean that. The defense is ridiculous. But regardless, I'm going with Cleveland to beat Seattle despite the injuries. I'm going with Cleveland. Actually, I take it back. You're in Seattle, you're banged up, you're feeling down. It makes total sense to lose this. Give me Seattle. That's the first change pick we have of this entire thing. I'm changing the pick from Cleveland to Seattle. Knowing the injury report, it's better to just go with this. So the next game after the Browns game is the Chiefs and Broncos, 4:25 Eastern on CBS. Chiefs-Broncos. Broncos home and in Power Field at Mile High. Chiefs are crushing. Stick with the Chiefs. Listen, it was close last time, fairly. It's not happening this time. Chiefs are not letting this happen again. They're winning this one. Give me Kansas City. Ravens, Cardinals, 4:25 Eastern on CBS in Arizona. I don't care what you tell me. Arizona's losing this game. Give me Baltimore. No chance that Kyler Murray plays this week. It's going to be Josh Dobbs. So, Ravens are the pick. 4:25 Eastern on CBS. Bengals at San Francisco, Levi Stadium. There's currently questions around the status of Brock Purdy playing now that he has a concussion. San Fran's favored in this game by 4. Sam Darnold is expected to start this game. From what I heard, for the most part, Purdy is not playing. It will be Sam Darnold. That's what I've been informed. More than likely, it will be Sam Darnold playing. And if that is the case, nothing against Darnold, nothing against San Francisco, I'm riding with Cincinnati. I was riding with Cincinnati even if Purdy was healthy. So Cincinnati's going to win this one. Chicago's game is next. They are the Sunday night football game. I'm pretty sure. Let me just confirm that. I think they're the Sunday football game. Are they? Yes. They are the Sunday night football game. Bears Chargers in LA. Tyson Bagent up against Justin Herbert. Bagent in again as the backup. Up against LA, who's 2-4, while the Bears are 2-5 on NBC, 8:20 Eastern. If I'm being honest with all you, LA's favored by 8.5. I took the Bears in an upset. I initially took the Bears in an upset because I think Bagent, I was all in on the kid. I was all confident. But after sitting back on this and thinking about how bad the Chargers defense is and how rough the Bears have been this year, I think it's safe to say the Chargers need to get back on track. And in order to do that, they got to beat Chicago. So I'm changing my Chicago pick to LA. Give me the Chargers. And that is my picks for Week 8. The Monday night pick will be saved for the Monday morning stream. Once again, these are the picks. We're taking Dallas, right? We are taking Dallas Cowboys over the Rams in Dallas. We are taking the Vikings over the Packers in Lambeau. The Falcons over the Titans in Nashville. The Colts over the Saints in Lucas Oil in Indianapolis. We're taking the Dolphins over the Patriots in Miami. The Jets over the Giants at MetLife. The Jaguars over the Steelers in Pittsburgh. The Eagles over the Commanders in Washington. The Houston Texans over the Panthers in Charlotte. The Seahawks over the Browns in Seattle. The Chiefs over the Broncos in Denver. The Ravens over the Cardinals in Arizona. The Bengals over the Niners in Santa Clara. And the Chargers over the Bears in Englewood, California. SoFi Stadium. That's the picks. I know, I agree with you, Armand. A part of me wants the Bears to win. Trust me, there are times where I make these picks and I want the team to win that I didn't pick. But I picked it because of logic and I need my record to be good. So, what is going on? Sorry about that. Bears win, for sure. I'd love to see a Bears win. But I'm going with the Chargers. I'm going with logic's sake here, not the upset that I'd like to see. So, Chargers for the win. That's going to do it for the stream, everybody. As you guys can see on the bottom, on the ticker, you have all the games you can see tonight. NHL games, NBA games, MLB games, all there. Baseball, we love you. This weekend, enjoy. So, again, thank you all for tuning in. If you guys are new to the channel, please consider subscribing on YouTube, if you're watching this on YouTube. We've got some content coming your way. I'll give you guys a sneak preview of that, too, while we're here. And on Twitch, if you're watching this for the first time, please consider giving us a follow. We're 5 followers away from hitting 20 followers. It goes a long way in helping this channel grow, so please consider following. Thank you all so much. I'm going to give you guys a preview into a YouTube video I'm working on. Now, I want to do a concept series, kind of similar to what you've been seeing on YouTube. If you guys watch a lot of like the simulators, the people do like imperialism stuff, I'm doing my own. And I'll give you a little glimpse into what I'm working on. So let's go into the face cam with the screen here. You guys can see. I got the chat right there, y'all. And this is what I'm working on. So this little US map you're seeing, right? This is what I'm working on. This is what I like to call imperialism. Now, I'm doing it a little bit different than most other people have done it. The way I'm going to do is I'm going to do it by county. So, whatever county your team resides in, that's your team. Your team resides in that county, you get that county. But you have to expand in that state, right? I'm debating right now, though, for this concept, what do I do? So if you guys have ever seen the imperialism series, I'll explain it to you the best way possible if you haven't seen it before. So typically, it doesn't look like this where there's a bunch of empty space, like counties, right? The way it typically is you've got teams that take up an entire portions of the state until there's no room in the state. As long as this team resides in that state, they have that territory. And what happens is it only opens spaces where there's no college football teams. So typically, for example, that would mean like Montana, North Dakota, South Dakota, these kind of areas. Idaho, all those areas. But that's like for FBS teams. I'm doing FBS and FCS. The hardest part about this is also doing the small territories because you don't really see anything in the Virginia area, and because they have so many independent municipal cities, they have tiny little territories inside of counties. So I had to do that for JMU, for VMI, the Cadets, the Cavaliers. Had to do it for Liberty. Did it for Richmond. I also did it over here. If you look very carefully, it's very tiny. But I also did it for Old Dominion, for Norfolk State, for Hampton, and for William and Mary. Everything you're seeing on this map took me like hours last night. I was up till 5 in the morning doing all of this. And I'm still not even finished with the West Coast. I haven't touched the West Coast yet. But everything's listed. Like even up in New York, for example, you've got the Bulls, the Cornell Big Red, Syracuse, Colgate, Albany, Marist, Army, Fordham. And then down here you get even closer. You've got Columbia, LIU, Wagner, and then you even get into Jersey. You've got Rutgers, Princeton, and Monmouth. Stony Brook out there. Some of these areas you see are a little small. The hardest part is I don't want to have to do what I did last time, which was consolidate teams outside of the county they reside, because that's not fair. Because they both live in the same county, they should have residential areas in the county. They should have a stake in there. So what I did this time is I'm giving people shares. So for example, this county, Robert Morris, Duquesne, and Pitt all share the territory. They're all in the same county. So all three of them will start in this county. So from there, they could either fight it out inside the county, depending on where the arrow points them, and if it's their turn, or they can expand outwards and go grab other counties that are available. You know? So for those who don't know how this works, I mean, I'll explain it best way possible. I have a game simulator online that I access. Again, shout out NCAAGamesim.com. You guys are great. Love all the great work you do. They do NFL, NBA, MLB. They do all the major sports. It's great. It's like simulators with old rosters that you can date back, I think, about 10, 15 years. And you can just upload those and just use them and do projections and simulations with those teams in time. It's really phenomenal. And you could also break it down to play-by-play. They use the player rosters, simulate the player stats. You get full stat lines and play-by-plays of everything that happened in the game. It's actually incredible. I love it a lot. So we're going to do that, likely for these games. So I'll give you an example of the way imperialism works. So give me 1 second to switch over here back to lone host. Wait, that is from the other stream the other night. Sorry about that. Right here. Okay. So while we're here, I'm going to pull up the example of what I'm talking about, just so you guys get a good glimpse of what I'm working on. So there's a spinner wheel, right? I mean, people call it a picker wheel. There's a wheel of names. I mean, there's a lot of things people do. I mean, I'm more than likely going to use probably wheelofnames.com more than anything else. And then I'll alternate it with, let's say, the arrow spinner. Like spin an arrow for directions, right? So like essentially you spin this arrow. You hit spin or change. Well, you could change the arrow and everything, but you know, let me see if I can change. Let me see what I can do here. I'm going back. I'm trying to figure out what exactly it was. There's a spinner that you could use. Let me go to Google. So like, I'll show you guys what I mean. So there's spinthewheel.io is the one I think I used last time. And I'm going to use that again, but I got to get the directional arrows. So let me go back to google.com. I'll do this. I know I'm taking a little bit here, but I'm trying to remember the pages. Choose random. There we go. ChooseRandom.com spinner arrow. So I got it. I found it. I know there's only one person left here, but we're going to do this. I promise you guys. All right? So let me go back to the window in the highlight scene, show you guys what I'm talking about. This isn't it. So essentially, spin an arrow, right? This is what it is. So essentially, let's say you're here, right? We're doing spin the wheel. Spin it. And whatever it lands on is the pick. Let's say this is, for example, something like, let's say that's Dartmouth. And Dartmouth wants to expand. Now you go into this arrow, you spin the arrow, and wherever the arrow ends up is the direction it's going to go. So this would say it would go to the west. I mean to the east. And by going to the east, that would put it over, let's see, by going to the east, that would put it over into this territory up here. So they would take, because of the directional that they're going to the east, they expand, they take this territory, right? So you would just hit the arrow here, expand, color it in, boom. Now this all belongs to Dartmouth. This is their territory. Now I'm going to hit Control Z because obviously that's not the case, but that was just an example. And let's say you have to face University of New Hampshire down here, right? Or let's say it's Merrimack, and Merrimack has to go east. They have to face Harvard. So you do the simulation of Merrimack's roster this year with Harvard's roster. Whoever wins the game gets the territory. So if Harvard wins, they take over Merrimack's territory, and Merrimack's eliminated. But if Merrimack wins, they take Harvard's territory, and Merrimack moves on, and Harvard's eliminated. So it's kind of weird like that. That's essentially imperialism. You keep going until there's only one team remaining that consumes the entire country. Now, everybody usually does it by entire states. I'm going to do it by county. I'm going to make it a multi-part series as expected. That's what I kind of want to do. It's, wrong one again. It's kind of what I want to do is just really incorporate all of that together for fun. And that's the YouTube content I'm currently working on. Big series there. Hopefully I can do some taping of that and start getting it out by early next week. Right around Halloween time. I think it'd be awesome. I think you guys really enjoy it. Trust me. Think about the concepts. All the small schools involved. Like if your school has an FCS football team as Division I technically. Like let's say you go to like Stonehill. Stonehill is 100% in this thing. And I could actually do a simulation with Stonehill. That's the cool part. I'll give you guys another school you might not know. Gardner-Webb. Gardner-Webb is another school I could do a simulation with for football. Maybe even, let's say, the Tennessee State Tigers. If they have to face Vanderbilt, I can do the simulation. Or even this, the Indiana State Sycamores. You may not have known they have a football team. They face up against the Indiana Hoosiers. Not even basketball and football. Even if you go into Ohio, you can even do the Miami, Ohio Redhawks against the Dayton Flyers for football. Isn't that kind of crazy? You just see these little matchups between FCS teams and regular teams. Like there's territory where Duke is splitting territory in football with the NC Central Eagles. What? But they have to fight it out. Like that's the cool part about it. And so I want to do this whole thing. Maybe your college is in it. Who knows? Maybe it's a school you root for. And we just keep going until, like, at the end, we figure out the numbers and we have one team remaining. But again, we're going to do it. I'm trying to figure out this, and I need an answer from you guys. I'm going to put it out on Twitter, too, for feedback. For this series for college football imperialism, with D1 teams and FBS, FCS, should we do it state by state? Or should we do it as open as it is, start expanding counties, state borders don't matter, go anywhere you want? What should be the decision? Do we go anywhere we want with this imperialism, or do we go state by state first until there's only one remaining in each state, and then we do a collective open borders, anybody can attack anybody? That's the question. Like, for example, in Florida, there's somewhere like around 10, 11 football teams down there in FBS and FCS. If they were to face off, right, and let's say the one that comes out on top is Florida State. Florida State would represent Florida. Georgia would only have one representative, it'd be the Bulldogs. For Alabama, it'd be Alabama. For Mississippi, it'd be Ole Miss. One representative from each state left, but then there's no borders and anybody can attack anybody until there's one team remaining. Would you rather do it that way where the states have to fight over one representative first? Or do it where you have anybody can attack anybody, anybody can expand, borders don't matter? That would be the question. Again, this is basically like the concept of the game War. If you played the game War as a kid, well, not really War, Risk. There you go. That's the word. Risk. It was war related. The game Risk. If you played as a kid, you guys know the concept. It's essentially you start out one territory, you go to consume another, you spread your troops out until you completely dominate the map and you completely take over the world domination. It's the same way, but it's branded as imperialism online. So like Bordeaux does a really good series on his. He does it all the time with his NCAA football, college football revamped. He does the actual physical simulation where you can see it. I'm doing it kind of like a Natty Cash style, which Natty Cash used the simulator I'm using, and we just went with it. Whatever the result was, we went with the results, explained it, saw the stat lines, and went with it. That's it. So let me know what you guys think of that series. I'm going to be working on that for this weekend to try to get it ready so we can start taping it and start getting episodes out some point next week. And we'll be doing it like probably hopefully just a 10-part series. It shouldn't be much longer than that. If anything, I'll have it bookmarked with the big matchups if there are any. Everything else, for the most part early on, will be nothing but expansions. But nothing too crazy where matchups happen. Not unless you land on a team that's completely surrounded. So, who knows? Anything could happen. In total, I think it's about 250 football teams in college football. 250 college football teams from, 250 football teams, somewhere around there from FBS and FCS combined. That's what you're going to see here. They're all over the place. It's going to be California. You're going to see a lot of football teams. I mean, there's even tiny regions. Like I said, I'll show you guys one more time what this map looks like. Again, I've only done the East Coast so far. And they have so much growing to do. So I'm going to do a highlight scene again. This is, again, what I'm showing you how it would work. You spin the wheel, spin the arrow, determines the direction you go. Then you figure out if you're expanding or attacking or whatever's going on. You win in the attack in the simulation, win the game, you take the territory. You lose, you're eliminated. It's basically a sudden death game. Your whole existence of your institution relies on a football game. But let me go back to then, I guess I got to do face cam with screen. I'll show you guys right here. So essentially, this is what the map looks like. One more review of it. If Wofford were to spin a wheel and they have to go to the west, they have to face Furman and we have to do a simulation. Winner gets the territory. And up here, some of them are even really tiny, so it's even hard for them to move. So, like in Virginia, they're really weird where they have municipal cities, and that's where a lot of these colleges reside. So JMU is in a municipal city. VMI is in one. So is Virginia. So is Hampton. So is Richmond. William & Mary's in there. Old Dominion, Norfolk State, all these teams. And even up there in New York, it's really hard to fit these things in there, but like you zoom all the way in, you find Wagner. You find Columbia. Like, they're all here. 100% they're all here. Even in Rhode Island, it wasn't as bad. Bryant and Brown's sharing a territory of a county. So that's what I mean. Would you rather I do a state battle? I keep doing this. Would you rather I do a state battle, right? Or would you rather I do open borders, anybody can expand and attack into any other territory? That's the question I have for all of you. Make sure to let me know on Twitter and on Instagram. Against all the socials are up here. Instagram at The Brian Mansell Show. Twitter at BA Mansell. And on YouTube, there we go, at The Brian Mansell Show. If you guys are new to the channel, again, please consider subscribing on YouTube. It goes a long way in helping the channel grow down the line. And if you are seeing this on Twitch, please give us a follow. Really helping to get more exposure in the sports community on Twitch. Once again, thank you all for watching. We'll be back Monday morning, 11 a.m. Eastern, here on Twitch and YouTube for another edition of The Brian Mansell Show. But until then, thank you all so much for tuning in, and we'll see you Monday. Have a good one, everybody. Enjoy college football this Saturday. Enjoy NFL coverage. Enjoy your NBA. Enjoy your hockey. Enjoy everything. It's sports euphoria. It's the best time of the year.